now. Holy shit, folks.
I always remind people, I am suspended for life for minor hockey.
It's my duty to please the booty.
Did you catch a rattlesnake and then drive home with it in your car holding it the whole time?
Yep.
Phil only drinks Coke. He doesn't drink water. I'll fucking quit.
Fugazis.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 450 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka and the Barstool Sports podcast family. Yeehaw, Biz from Nashville. How we doing? We got the whole crew here. Just had the awards. You killed it on TV, Biz. I got to go, busy boy.
With that, hello. It's like you're going to be on stage tonight at the Barstool
Don't
Bar.
tell you. Don't count that out, baby. It's still early in Nashville.
Oh, yeah. You were in fine form last night.
Well,
All
it's
you
not a
guys
road
were.
trip if it's not. I already saw someone said RA was the most fucked up person in the SEC conference land last night. So we're back on the road. So.
Hey,
the day ends in Y.
Vegas was just spring training for this week. That's all, boys. So, well, great job tonight, Biz. Seriously, it was awesome stuff having you up there.
How nervous were you?
I was so fucking nervous, boys. We got told about this about 8 days ago.
You had no idea.
No clue that I was even doing this, and I saw an email, and I was like, I don't remember agreeing to do the NHL awards. And then, we try to put a few things together and lighten the mood a little bit. Some stuff, crash landed, and other things popped off. And at the end of the day, I got a shutout in the Hart speech from Connor McDavid. That's kind of cool, no?
The hot tub made it in to a major award speech. That's when you know you've kind of laid your mark on the league.
Yeah, I'm basically a Hart winner. So it's kind of
You'll never
cool.
be in the hot tub, but it was brought up in the Hart Memorial Trophy.
And the joke has to die now. Connor hates the hot tub being talked about. We're putting it to rest. So this will be the podcast.
He hates
what number
most
podcast?
of the stuff we talk
I
about.
think he hates all of us.
I think he hates my guts personally.
He doesn't hate me. I did an interview with Oilers TV, just pumping his tires, basically. So I'm still on the good
you were
side.
killing it.
I've never brought up the hot tub. I've only pumped the Oilers. So you guys can all stay away from her, and
No,
I'll
look at
try
you,
to get
Mr.
an interview.
Perfect.
I'll try to get an
And
interview.
that's the voice of our coach, Turd Ferguson. With the,
I said walking out of the arena for people listening in their cars, I got a big old foam Smashville cowboy hat. I was like, oh, I'll grab that for the pod. That's a good little prop. And then I brought it up there, 41.50. I was like, what the hell? So you can never be the person that brings something to the front and then they say the price.
Bree calls you. She's like, is there fraud on your credit card right now?
She's like, no, I just bought 14 foam cowboy hats, but it's okay. I got one for Ryder.
And it's funny because we ended up bringing up Lloyd Christmas with Jack Hughes on stage because when he lost his tooth, he kind of looked like him a little bit. And for those of you in their cars or just listening, it's the foam hat that Lloyd Christmas has on when he ends up dropping his wallet off.
Yep.
And I got robbed by an sweet old lady in a motorized cart. That's the cowboy hat we're talking about.
Matt Merles, once again, this guy, absolute T. You're like the T2 of
Hair is
podcast this season. Holy
it's
shit.
like it gets better the more you drink. And go on.
Vegas.
He was the only guy with a tie on. We all had suits. He wore a tie. I was like, Jesus,
I've had
Mark.
multiple people come up to me already on this trip like, how are you here? What are you doing here? Like, you need to go home. The Chiclets Decathlon, you're dead. You go home. But no, amazing trip so far. And Whit, yeah, you're definitely got the credit card fraud because before you bought that hat, the 3 drinks you bought us were $71 too.
Yep.
Like, they just gouged
no
you over
fucking
there
around
at the
in
Bridgestone
Nashville.
Arena.
Wasn't
No
as
fucking
bad as
around.
Vegas.
Good start to the trip. Yeah, better than the tables. Yeah, thank God there's no tables
But
here.
I will say, shout out quick, Merle's Army and myself grabbed a little bite to eat at Martin's Barbecue, Biz. This place.
Unreal.
Just no free ads, but while giving them a free ad.
Local spots.
You go in, you order kind of like, not cafeteria style.
like
you,
McDonald's,
you go in and
you know.
order, and then they give you a number, you sit down. We just had everything going. So we felt like we actually kind of lived it up in Nashville getting the barbecue, and it's a great city.
Oh.
I know I said last pod, and I'll stick to it. Vegas is the best place to play in the NHL. This is kind of right there. I mean, in terms of the no state tax, I know you love that. Great fan base, arena right on Broadway. It's an awesome city. We had Dirk Bentley. Actually, so our buddy Frank Saravalli, like everyone knows, he does what's his podcast?
Daily Face-Off.
DFO, Daily Face-Off podcast. Great insider. So Dirk Bentley did a show on Broadway before the awards as we're on the red carpet. It's pumping. By the way, Merles goes, I didn't even know there was a concert going on. He thought it was just from the speakers. It was 20 yards away. But we walk out of the arena and all of a sudden, like, I see the stage. There's not many people around. Like, and let's welcome up Frank Saravalli. I'm like, what the fuck? I love Frank, but Dirk Bentley to Frank, poor bastard. But it was a good night.
As far as the city's concerned, when I was driving in with Army, we just talked about how crazy the development is here.
Yeah.
The city's basically doubled in size in the
That's
last
what
5 years.
that's what our driver said on the way from the airport. Yeah, it's doubled in size. It's just crazy. There's cranes everywhere. Everything's going up here. And then the event factor, right? And you made a good joke today about the bachelorette parties up
It's
there
the
with Hallmark.
bachelorette party capital of the world.
Yeah, they
Oh,
take,
yeah.
they
Over
take the
Vegas.
bars, like the riding bars, you know, those like
Oh,
tabs.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
It's like
They're
this
all
town.
on that, and they're just like, just buzzing around. So, yeah, it is. I actually came on a couple bachelor parties here, so it's not a bad spot for that.
Yeah. No, it's great.
More layups than the Globetrotters practice, for Christ's sake.
Well, and we did
But
mention it. All right, good for a dad joke. All right, you were in Five Form. Did we mention the Barstool Sports Bar?
No,
Place was
no, we
buzzing
have well,
last night.
No, I want to announce the Mayor McCheese of the NHL, Colby Armstrong. This guy knows anybody connected to the game. We had to give you a
Yeah,
intro.
this event is. I was in Montreal last year, and just you see like guys you used to play with that are scouts for teams, like in junior. I saw the guy. He works for St. Louis that drafted me and Red Deer here tonight.
Yeah, the guy's been working at Tim Hortons since he drafted Army.
He wouldn't claim me, but I was like, Carter, don't you remember
He's
me?
been sober since.
Doing the drive-through.
Great
Doing the
guy.
drive-through like Sid and Mac.
Is that a double-double? Yeah, oh, here
He's
comes.
replacing
Yeah,
engines.
I'll get the Wayno,
Yeah.
the 99.
But it's awesome. This event is awesome. And the fact that they did the awards and the draft in the same city, I think, is something that we'll see more of in the future just because it makes it so easy.
How do you not do this
How do you not do
everywhere
this
Guys,
everywhere? I saw my brother, though. He's here with the Flyers. We come downstairs busy the first day. We sit down to go eat because we're starving. There's Jonesy and Johnny Leclaire.
Oh,
then my
yeah.
brother comes
The
over.
brass.
The brass. Bill Brass.
I feel like everybody who played in at least the AHL could end
Yeah.
up being involved with the
Yeah.
NHL to some degree from like a scout player development.
And that was
So-
a Barstool bar the other night. Like,
Yeah.
It was crazy who was all there. Like guys we played against. Like you would have known everyone in there. So that's what the draft is. It's like
Yeah.
a major networking, how's it going, hockey, gong show of seeing familiar faces. So it's been a blast. And this trip, to Merle's point, just keeps going. I went home to Saskatoon for 1 week, saw
Yeah.
my mom and dad and my sister and her kids, and my whole family was there. And then I fly home quickly, pack up again, and here we are in Nashville,
Yeah,
boys.
I think we got to.
Yeah,
We might have to
guys.
send Merles to Hoffman at this
Hey,
point.
guys, hey, listen to this. This is the first scoop I'm going to release on this podcast. But guess where the draft and this awards act is going to be next year?
Oh, don't say it.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
No,
Vegas, in
Vegas,
five.
baby.
I'm not going.
I've
I'm
heard.
not
I
going.
got
I quit the
multiple
pod.
I'm not
reports.
going.
It's in Vegas
I'm not
next
going.
year.
I'm not kidding.
Vegas in
Stop resting that
Plan
quick.
whatever you guys want. I won't be there.
Merles just bought a timeshare.
I saw Merle's yesterday. He just kept going. Everyone's like yelling. I was like, Vegas in 5.
And you just said you want to talk about the new Barstool bar you mentioned before I introed Colby. Have you got a chance to pop in there
I
yet?
haven't been there. I just figured since you guys went and experienced it, you talk about it. But I'm here for 4 more days. I will definitely see that bar. I'll be serving drinks behind it. I'll probably propose to one of the waitresses there based on what
Yeah.
they're wearing.
Well,
As
no,
Army said, you walk in and you could see their buttholes.
Pretty much. I mean, that's their attire.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised RA has his VIP bracelet off. He's been wearing that thing all day. Just
Oh, you
fine.
took it off.
Yeah, I figured they'd give us a new one
No,
tonight.
because I haven't been there either because I just flew in this morning. But somebody said that they were walking around and there was like, a very attractive young woman in not much clothing, and they tried ordering a drink from her. She's like, "Oh no, I'm not a bartender." And they're like, "What do you do?" She's like, "I'm just a floater. I just go around and I show my big tits off to everyone." I was like, "Oh my god!" Guys,
For the Barstool bar?
she walks around the bar apparently
Just
and
with
just
her- with
shows
her tits
how
out.
hot she is, and that's her job. So I guess could I be a floater somewhere
Yeah, I could.
with Army's tits? Could
With maybe with
I got a
Brian
I got a good
McGonagall's.
B cup here if you want it.
Who's got the nicest tits on the pod? We should have a tit off between Army. Show us your tits.
My tits
No,
are not
whip out your
bad.
tits.
Well,
No, I'm not
he's
whipping
got
my
Spanx
tits out.
on.
All right,
so, I
whip
mean,
out
they
your
don't
tits.
look that good.
That TikTok we did with the country singer last night, it wasn't a good look for me
No,
either.
me neither.
I'm trying to look around here. Grinelli doesn't have nice tits. Posh, no. I don't know. Fishy might have some sneaky tits over there.
I'm seeing some titties on Sean right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
those-
he's all
those are
muscle.
Yeah, it's all
pecs.
muscle.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
got a
Oh, sorry,
dancing
sorry,
T-shirt.
He's
too.
like the muscle chick.
So-
Huge clit like a dick.
Guys, Whit here, and you know it's time to talk some Pink Whitney. Spittin Chiclets' own Pink Whitney. The best drink of the summer, of the fall, of the winter, of the spring. It don't matter the season. It don't matter the event. It don't matter the people you're with. You can be alone. You could be in a group. You could be at a party. You could be at a graduation. Pink Whitney's where it's at. Down in Nashville right now, I'm telling you, I don't even think people know I played hockey. They just come up and say, this drink, this pink drink, it quenches my thirst. I love it. I'm buzzed up. That's why I'm yelling at you right now. Pink Whitney. It's got all the bars around here just ripping shots of Pink Whitney. You get the bottles, you get the small ones, you get the little shooters, you get the big-ass bottles, the ones that'll last you maybe even a week, maybe even a month if you're drinking it slow. I also mentioned last week, the people on the lake, they didn't get enough respect. Lake people like Pink Whitney as well. I don't want to forget the lake people. I don't want to forget you swamp monsters out there drinking Pink Whitney. We got the beach people. We've already talked about them. We got the golfers. We're talked about the golfers. I mean, if you make a birdie, you have a Pink Whitney. If you make an eagle, you chug a whole bottle. And I'll tell you right now, every single event that you go to, if you show up with a bottle of Pink Whitney, people are going to be laughing. They're going to be smiling. They're going to say thank you. And then you're going to all drink it together. New Amsterdam is the reason that Pink Whitney exists. I am the reason Pink Whitney exists. That may sound cocky, but I'm sorry. That's my name on it. Please get involved. And to everyone who's already been involved, thank you so much. Continue to buy this drink. Enjoy it. Enjoy your summers. Enjoy your days with friends, family, co-workers, and just catch a buzz with Pink Whitney. Thank you very much.
Well, we were for the awards tonight, so we probably should give a little rundown. I think we pretty much are pretty predictable. Bergeron got the Selke once again, no surprise there. Pal Matty Beniers, we're going to be dropping an interview with him coming soon. He going to call the trophy. Anze Kopitar, Lady Bing, McDavid, Ted Lindsay, McDavid, Maurice Richard, McDavid, Art Ross. Of course, we knew that already. The Jennings, Ullmark, and Swayman. Ullmark won the Vezina. Letang the Masterton. I just want to say those speeches that the doctors come out and talk. Pierre Joseph. I mean, I was still the tears rolling down my face watching. It was just very emotional, like especially the one with Keller, man. Like, you know, they said like breaking the femur. It's like a car accident.
Yeah, they
basically.
brought out the Coyotes orthopedic surgeon. Everybody who had a hand in like helping.
I like how they did that.
Yeah, it was really
a great
nice
moment,
touch.
a great touch.
Real nice touch.
We got to chat with Letang pretty quick. Merle's did a Merle's Minute with him, and Army and I got a couple quick red carpet interviews, and yeah, I mean, he went through so much this year. I was really happy to see him win that. Yeah,
it was pretty emotional stuff. Stamkos, the Messier leadership. Great speech, too, by the way. I mean, Stam is such a great guy. It was good to see. Hot Trophy McDavid. Norris Carlson. Were you guys, anybody surprised that? I mean, I know he had the offensive year, but, you know, it's still for defensemen, so.
I think there was a little rumblings online that kind of Makar maybe deserved it again.
Yeah.
Just with how dominant he was, even missing games. But for me, And I've been kind of open in terms of like maybe get a defensive defenseman award, or just like Bobby Orr becomes a Norris and Norris, whatever. I think that it's unfair that it just goes to the best offensive defenseman. But if you're the first guy in 30 years to have 100 points as a D-man, that's a no-brainer in my mind.
I think he got on a heater off the start and he just sustained it the whole season. And let's not forget, he's not playing with an unreal team either. He's not snapping around with a power play like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. He played for a team who was a bottom feeder. I think they're picking what?
Fourth.
They're picking fourth overall this year. So I think if you can sustain those offensive numbers with what he had surrounded around him, I think he deserved it this year. And Makar was banged up. Like Makar's going to win 4, 5, maybe 6 more of these things if he's able to stay healthy.
All right, Jim Montgomery won the Jack Adams GM of the Year. It's done at the draft, as Ami said earlier. And the King Clancy, Michael Backlund for Calgary. So, yeah.
How about Monty's speech?
Yeah, that was good stuff.
That was
another emotional moment as well. So, yeah, like I said, no major surprises. I mean, nothing shocked you, Merles, I'm guessing.
I mean, you couldn't even like find. Everybody's asked me for picks on it. All the EBR crew out there. Hey, what do you got? I'm like, they're all pretty much locked in. It was all pretty much set. No surprises really at all.
All right, next event, the draft, obviously Wednesday night, well, tomorrow night. First round's going to be on ESPN. Then rounds 2 through 7 are going to take place during the day Thursday on NHL Network. Obviously, Bedard's going first. Now, there's a lot of talk, as you were saying. Fantilli seemed like the automatic slam dunk for number 2, but apparently that's not so anymore, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we got boots on the ground down here. We got our ears everywhere. There's scouts, there's coaches, guys we've played with. There's I don't know what we call that one guy, staff of the team.
I don't know what that guy was.
We're hearing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It is not locked in from 2 to 5 anymore. We thought it was probably before this when we did our game notes top 9.
Yeah.
Not top 10, top 9.
They forgot the 10th pick. They
No,
were
we left it open just in case.
Well-
this Will Smith is just climbing up the ranks
that's
every
the
day.
name. That's the name that's climbing up, and I won't say who told me, but there's a legit insider in the game or knowledgeable guy around the league who said there's gonna be some crazy shit that happens in the top 6 picks. So I guess everyone kind of thought it was Bedard, it was Fantilli, it was Carlson, then Will Smith. That's kind of what I'd heard for a long time in terms of the top 4. And this guy's saying that nobody has any clue how off the rails this thing could go.
That and there's so much crazy shit with people trying to like get salary off the books, and like some teams are trying to shed players. So it's unprecedented.
Yes.
Good
Nice.
job.
Fucking A.
Attaboy,
Round of
Biz.
applause
You're
for
hot.
Biz for getting that one out.
You're
A couple
hot.
Damn
clicks.
it.
Stay hot, busy.
Like
For
you
the
just solved the
NHL,
math
just
equation.
given that with the cap getting jammed up in this year's draft, which they're saying could be just as deep as my draft 2003, not a big deal, 4th rounder, but it's cool to see. And going back to the fact that we have the draft here and also the NHL awards, these people from the NHL who work tirelessly to throw these events on, they're away from their families. They got to go to the conference finals. They got to do the All-Star game. They got to do all this, the Stanley Cup finals, and then keep going. Finally, on Thursday, they're going to get to go home and get a little break after all this. So, round of applause.
School Merles.
Yeah, Merles, but he's not really
Well said.
forced to be here.
Hey, boys.
Volunteered.
I got
No,
a
we
text from
dragged him
Whit.
in
It was,
Sunday.
you got to be there Sunday. No, and I'm like, it doesn't really work for me. You'll be there Sunday. I'm like, all right.
But you do see all these people who work for the NHL, and as much as they love doing their job, they're like, I can't wait for this to be over. They can blow it up in style on Wednesday after the draft, and then go enjoy some time with their friends and family in the summer.
Or just
Bingo.
end the
Yeah.
season before June.
That is
That's a great call.
ideally
I mean,
what would happen.
What are we doing?
So their whole thing about not starting earlier is based on not competing with football, and it's like just don't play on Sundays and figure it out and end this and the Stanley Cup Finals like around Memorial Day, and then all of a sudden what we're doing right now is like June 10th to 12th instead of 25th, whatever it is. So I agree. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'm with you.
I have a theory. I think that the NHL should attack the NFL in a sense of teaming up and just putting a bunch of games on Sunday.
That's a very bad idea.
No,
It's a very bad idea.
Think of how many
It's
times.
one of your dumbest
buddy,
ideas.
No. Think of how many times I've been there on a Sunday watching NFL games, and they usually package about 5 or 6 games. Yes, you can watch Red Zone, and that's a little bit more entertaining. But half of these games are brutal and they're blowouts. If there's fucking other sports on, people are going to change the channel.
No, they won't.
They're sitting down on the
No, they
couch
won't.
all day and they're picking out and they're drinking.
Hey,
It's a
bud,
ritual.
Yeah,
no,
it's the
they won't.
It's the
You don't
gambling.
think
Yeah,
they're gonna
it's the
change
gambling.
over to
You're,
No, they won't.
You're underestimating the
Gambling.
gambling
This is
factor.
the NFL, dude.
Yeah.
This is
the
like
gambling is just big.
You think that was my dumbest idea ever?
not ever because
5.
that's like that was one of the
5.
that was one of the worst. Like you don't.
Army?
Hey, this is like fucking with like
third dumbest.
Apple or like this is
Down
the
and back.
NFL, dude. You ain't going near them.
Okay.
You
getting
take
a
Major
kick.
League Baseball, the NBA, and the NHL, and chuck all these games on Sundays, and they're all getting trounced. It's a National Football League.
I can't even look at Whit right now with that fucking hat on. And then you two are going at it.
Well, Biz wants to have Columbus play Philly on Sunday at 1 o'clock. There'll be 4 people watching.
You guys' hats.
I think
the hat off right
well,
now.
okay, so I agree with you. They need to start it earlier. So they need to start the season middle of September to end it at the end of May, which
literally 2 weeks early.
okay.
That's all you need.
I think they should test the theory of running some games on Sundays and doing these big
All of a sudden, the NHL
Oh, they
folds.
ramp it
They're
up.
like fucking Bissonnette.
No, they're like hardcore advertising. Like this is they do it like 3 times.
I'm gonna be
3 Sundays,
I'm
and it's
gonna
like this is the one of the nights that we go head to head against the
we're-
NFL. Let's hear you, hockey fans.
There's 7 fans in the arena.
we're all working Tim Hortons drive-thrus.
Hey, that's a tweet. 20
We lose
hearts.
chiclets. I'm like, fucking Biz.
Yeah, riders going to public school.
Hey,
Oh no!
hey, you know what they should do?
Hand-me-downs.
Here's an idea. On a Sunday, they should let us do a game. Call a game.
Yeah.
I still don't want to fuck
No,
around with
like
Sunday.
the fucking, what's his name?
I'm not messing with
Yeah.
That
Sunday.
might be the day they could let us do
Yeah.
it, though.
They're like,
you could let me play in another NHL game. I'm not playing on
Who's
Sunday.
this Murley guy and why is he doing color?
By the way, if you want to do a Sunday night game, you have to do it after the last NFL game on Sunday night.
No, that
and it'll
game ends at midnight.
Yeah, but that's when the hockey game on because all the gamblers want to make their money back for the week. So that would be the last game.
No, because
That's
midnight
how you
hits.
do it.
Midnight hits and the week's
It
over,
resets.
dude.
Well, that would be considered
No.
a Monday nighter, by the way.
There's
Can you
something
imagine
there.
Merle's on
There's
like a
something there,
Sunday?
and he's back in Japan. He's
In
like,
college-
that would have been on at 1 o'clock
Because in
when I was
college
playing
we
for
used
Tokyo.
to bet the Monday night, the West Coast basketball game. It would come on at midnight.
I'm going to text Gary Bettman. We're going to start Sunday specials.
I saw Gary walking
Well, they
down
got
Broadway
Thursday
today.
night, they got Sunday night, they got Monday night.
How about Gary tonight when they booed him? By the way, like he brought a team to Nashville. They should be cheering for him. And he comes out and he's like, music to my ears in the music
Yeah.
city.
At least he's playing up to it.
Teed up. How long
That's
did
a
he
good line.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
One of his like little lackeys gave him that one. It's like when they boo you, bring up that this is a music city, Gary.
No,
Okay.
he doesn't.
Okay, I got that.
No, he ain't Drake.
I can do that.
He ain't got no ghostwriters. He's spitting his own bars.
Hey, do you know, out of Central Scouting, the first 17 skaters were all forwards. They didn't have a defenseman ranked until 18th on Central Scouting this year.
I think there's going to be a defenseman from Sweden that goes way higher than that.
And another one,
That
the
right-handed guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right-handed guy's there, but isn't Leonard a D? He's
no,
go-
Leonard's forward.
Oh, is he a forward
Leonard's
too? Yeah, the what's it? They
He
have a
has two- he
nickname
has
for
two
him. Yeah, he's
names.
got a nickname for him.
What's his
But
name?
he was. I moved him up in the rankings, but now with boots on the ground, that's scrapped. He's down in the 8-9 range.
I'm hoping for
I think
a
he'll be
crazy
8-9.
draft. The draft has kind of turned into what we all think of as the old trade deadline. I feel like maybe 10, 15 years ago, the trade deadline. Now, granted, there's been action throughout the last few years, trade deadline, but it seems like the draft is when you're seeing current players being moved maybe a lot more freely than the 3 o'clock deadline every March or whatever that day comes. So I know we got some stories to maybe talk about for guys around the league, but as long as there's some maybe surprises in the top 5 picks, a couple players traded, that's basically what all the fans want.
Merle's got a great interview that, is on social of with Bedard.
Oh, fuck
So a little
Bedard.
bit of action. Bedard, who'd you rather have on your team? He said Biz.
I don't even
over
think he
Whit.
knows who I am, though. Like, he took Biz because he sees him on TNT. Like, he might have been, I don't even think he knows I ever played. Or he's thinking Ray Whitney and he took Biz, and then he's really stupid.
Or he's going the Canada angle.
yeah.
Maybe you saw that Tim
Or he's just
Jackman
kissed
photo.
him
I was
ass.
a Bedard guy, but now he's taking Biz
You called
over
him, what'd
me.
you
I
call
call
him?
He's pigeon tossed me twice.
What'd you call
now.
him on the tweet?
I
though?
called him a bust. Took Biz over me.
Oh, great. Now we're not going to get him on the pod.
I don't think we were getting him anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his agent's like, stay away from those losers.
Well, it sounds like Barry Trotz might have some up his sleeve. He's talking about trying to pull off a big move, so I think he's going to do something, Arm Dog, this at the draft or what?
I do. What was the story? He said he told Poyle, like, hey, what are we doing? Like, let's get going. Let's make some moves.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think it's like a little bit of show business here in Nashville? He's trying to get the crowd
I think
riled up a little bit, or do you think they're really going to push and do something here? Because they've made a lot of moves here in the last how many months?
Well,
really?
what was the move with Johansson?
Johansson?
Oh yeah, let's get to that right here. Actually, hey, Merles, what about if Will Smith gets drafted by Philly, then they trade him to L.A.? That little life imitating us.
West Philadelphia,
West
born and
Philadelphia.
raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days,
All right, you're a
chilling
sick
out,
fuck.
maxing, relaxing,
yeah.
all cool, and I was shooting some b-ball outside of a
school
pool,
with
and a couple of guys, they were up to no good. Started raising trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared. She said, took me to the Auntie and Uncle in Bel Air. Whistled for a cab, and then it came near, and license plates had dice in the mirror, and anything I thought of, and I'm home in Bel Air. I fucked up the end.
You are.
You fucked up a lot of it.
That hat turned you into
I
something
absolutely
special.
love that show.
So do I. It's my
I
favorite
think it was
show.
one of the best shows of all time.
Every day after school, I come home and watch
When
that.
Uncle Phil chucked DJ Jazzy Jeff out of the front door, I'd laugh every time.
Hey,
it would cut to it, and you'd
Hey.
go, ah!
hey, show of hands. Let's have a vote. Should Whit wear that hat the rest of the week he's here?
Should I wear it in the sandbag?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll keep my head still.
Sandbagger.
Maybe it'll keep my head still. Finally.
I can't
like
believe you're
a
going to play
swing
golf
tool.
in this
Game in
heat.
shambles.
You guys cannot play in this heat.
Yes,
No, I'm very worried. In terms of not wearing a glove golfing, I'm kind of in trouble.
Hey,
But
Biz, you should wear the bottoms that the girls wear at the Barstool Bar.
Ashley Chaps gets that pukes on the first tee.
just teeing off. They're staring at my asshole,
Butthole's
my hairy butthole.
Oh, Biz isn't playing golf. He's just a floater, like the girl at Barstool.
Before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Top Legends. With Jaromir Jagr as an ambassador, Top Legends will be celebrating ice hockey legends through their commemorative one-of-a-kind value notes. Each series that Top Legends releases will feature 7 commemorative value notes with 7 different legends. These will be issued over a period of 7 years with 1 value note released annually. In 2023, Top Legends starts with the Ice Hockey Legends series, but expect more to come involving other sports and arts legends. Each value note has its serial number, making it truly one of a kind, giving you a chance to collect the whole ice hockey series with the same unique number. Limited issue with no future reissue, product sold to people 18 years or older. So subscribe at toplegends.com to make sure you don't miss out on anything big. Also, subscribe to the Top Legends YouTube channel and watch the launch event live from Vegas on June 28th.
By the way, RA, did you hear Army's scouting report on Will Smith on Game Notes Daily?
I don't know if I did or not. The rapper or the player?
No, he's got a great slap shot.
That was what he said.
Slap shot.
You know who gave me the dead fish tonight was
That was my dad joke.
No, you got a dead fish,
kind of.
and you're gonna call him out.
No, but I kind of love when I get pigeon
Please
tossed.
tell me this.
Julian Brizois.
The GM for the
Oh,
Lightning.
really?
Yeah, kind of a little bit.
I
of
saw him. He was great to me. I saw him in the concourse.
Oh, he's a beauty. He's a beauty.
Him and Darcy.
I think
Matt
he thinks.
Darsh.
I think he thinks I'm a pigeon though. You
Does
know
he
when you can
maybe-
get that sense from guys? They're like, oh, look at this.
Does he
fucking
maybe just have a
loser.
shitty handshake, though? Some guys just like have a shitty handshake.
Yeah.
Oh, shocker. Army met him in the lobby and talked to him.
Oh, my
Shocker.
God.
Oh,
Dave
yeah.
McCheese over
Shocker's
here.
looking for a job.
Every guy.
What are you, the fucking head scout for the Tampa Bay Lightning now?
I got it.
Their
Someone
first
came
draft
up
pick
to
is in
me
the
today.
6th round.
Works for the league with the awards and said, hey, listen, like we have like meetings and stuff. We were talking about like media. Gary Bettman said that Armstrong guy's doing a good job.
Oh yeah.
No
Holy
shit.
fuck! Why don't you lick his taint too, Army?
I never
I'll
ever
tell you
talked
right
about
now,
Gary.
Army, you.
I don't know how he thought this. I don't know where this came from at all. It's just good work.
But no, that's
He must be on the Game Notes. He must be a Game Notes Daily guy.
You think-
Is he in the chat?
It's actually, it's
Is that
actually,
Singsy?
it's Singsy. I was just gonna say that.
I know. I think we're pretty much through with the draft talk.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
is there any cool stories about any of these prospects? Maybe guys who like came out of nowhere. Like I don't really do much draft digging. I had to worry.
Army's doing a draft show for Sportsnet, so maybe he's got something.
I don't know.
Said
Like,
Will Smith has a good slap shot.
slap. Shot.
Good
Yeah.
rap.
We're going to get a
Good
couple
rap
guys
shot.
on. We're going to get Leo Carlson and we're going to get Leonard on for
And Will
interviews. You got Fantilli, you got Will Smith. So we're going to find out probably later.
I
about
will
their
say,
stories.
as we move on from the draft, Pat Verbeek, it's his first draft as the GM of the Anaheim Ducks. It's a pretty ballsy move, and maybe this ends up being useless conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty ballsy move not to take Fantilli. Like, in terms of freshmen who've won the Hobie Baker, Paul Kariya, Jack Eichel, Adam Fantilli, he led the nation in scoring. Like, he's got to have a pretty strong opinion on him as a player to not take him second overall, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. And obviously, Will Smith, I think this year he was better goals-wise than Jack Hughes was his draft year at the national program, and Leo Carlson plays in the Swedish Elite League. But it's just, to me, it's always seemed like Fantilli, and if he doesn't take him, it's a pretty ballsy pick.
But it also seems like this is one of those years. If you're a GM and you're drafting in the top 5, you can't miss. You can't. This is as deep as it gets. No.
And I think Mitchkov is
too.
interesting
No.
because he's
'Cause
kind
he's
of
on
the
the
unknown
gas.
wild card that's like rumored to be probably the best guy next to Bedard, but he's like probably going to go like 5th, but maybe not. Maybe he's going to go 3rd, 4th.
Is that because sometimes the Russians, it takes them like 3-4 years to get over here?
Yeah, well,
because,
look at Kaprizov, right?
right.
So look at Panarin. Look at some of
they're
these.
still under contract. So
Panarin
they
wasn't
can't
even
come.
picked, I don't
And the
think.
whole
Well, he picked, yeah.
the world climate is a mess, is adding to that contract problem. And the Russian.
Find these guys.
EBR.
But they all come over a little later.
Political science major.
Usually.
KHL camp opens July 1st.
Oh, I'd be pumped to go over there right now. We're going to send RA
it
to
really?
the Wagner group
You're like,
at
this
one
isn't my
point.
curve. This is an AK-47.
They just, instead of playing bad music with,
These
they're
are
just
my
going to have me on a
sticks.
fucking microphone talking to
All
the
of a sudden,
bosses.
RA joins the Wagner group in Russia, and the war's over. They're like, we can't hang with this fucking guy. He's shit-faced all day.
Where are my Bauer pads? This is a grenade launcher.
Well, what you just mentioned, Nashville getting into the trade stuff. Colorado made the big move, hoping to solidify the second line center. They got Ryan Johansson from Nashville for the signing rights to pending unrestricted free agent Alex Galchenyuk, and the Preds are retaining half the salary. Basically, it's a salary dumped by the Preds. They're going to save, $4 million. If buyout would have been a lot more expensive. And Colorado gets a potential second-line replacement for Kadri.
I love the risk. I love the gamble here.
Not even really a gamble, I'd say.
Because all of a sudden you're getting him a $4 million cap hit. You could see they really lack that depth at center ice. And I think that Johansson also, like when he's playing his game, like 2 years ago, he had a pretty good year. This year was an off year. Sometimes he's banged up. I don't know how well he's taking care of himself off the ice, but if he has a good summer training and he brings that nastiness that he can bring sometimes to the lineup, I look at it like a Kadri 2.0.
Yeah, I'll say, and this is kind of stuff I've heard, so I'm not going to say it's like definitely true, but I don't know, as Barry Trotz comes in and takes over, if Johansson maybe kind of like how he approaches the game, maybe not necessarily like a culture guy in the Trotz sense of the word.
Sure.
Maybe not his style, and kind of just looking to maybe get rid of guys that aren't, and I don't know him personally. I actually know guys really love him off the ice.
Love him. He's a great guy.
As a great guy, but maybe Trotz just has seen or heard a couple of things in terms of like, all right, he's not necessarily what we want in terms of what I'm looking for, being a pro and things like this. This is all things I'm hearing, so I'm not like saying it's true. So he moves on to him, and at the same time, Colorado gets him and says, well, if that were to be an issue, he's coming into a room of Stanley Cup champs, and that stuff that maybe they looked at in Nashville as unprofessional in quotations wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
So like it's one of those things where it really is like a low risk, high reward for me. You get a guy like Nathan McKinnon, we've heard how he is with teammates in terms of expecting a lot, and maybe if he's like kind of dogging it on the ice some nights, that's not going to fly. And then also when Johansson's going, I mean, that's a true, like I'd say 70, 80 point guy. So I love the move. It is interesting though, if I'm
who Whit heard that from?
Who?
The floater.
I wish.
That's where he's getting his intel.
Nate will be like, Joey, put that fucking Baby Ruth down.
No, I went to try to see the floater. The Barstool Bar's closed today. But the thing I'm wondering in terms of like if you're Roman Josi or Saros is right now Nashville, like they don't look like they have a ton for next year. I maybe they go out and make a couple moves.
But those guys are locked in long term, and I think that probably the communication to them is quick rebuild, because with all these draft picks they have, and remember, it's a young man's league now. You can get some fucking.
They have some good prospects.
They have good prospects. They can draft well, or I think what do they have? They have 2 first rounders this year. They have 2 second rounders. They have 3 third rounders. So you expect some chaos on draft day where maybe they can add some guys to the mix. And let's not forget, and we talked to Hal Gill, Whit, you weren't in town yet, but towards the end of the year, they weren't really expected to do much, and they went on a bit of a run and almost ended up making playoffs with like guys like Cody Glass. So agreed with you on the Johansson thing. It's like, maybe he's not exactly a gym rat and
a Trotz guy
or a Trotz culture guy, but going over to Colorado, they already got those
Will that
guys.
be like Kessel going to Pittsburgh kind of thing, maybe?
No, I think it'll be like... And
That's a great comparison. He
doesn't have to be like he doesn't $8 million guy. No. He has to go there. They're paying him $4 now because
But those other guys are setting the tone in practice. They're keeping the pace high, so you have to fall in line.
And Nate's like, what are you eating?
Yeah. What are you eating? What's your diet? Why are you gassing beers on the plane? Put those down. Grab an Aquafina.
Does he do that? Does Johansson do that? I don't know.
I hope so.
Gas beers?
There used to be like 12 packs under all our plane seats when we got on the plane.
Everybody else in this city's gassing beers. This
so
city's out of control.
Good conversation, but overall, love the move, and I think it's going to help Colorado, and they need that.
The Avs also will not be re-signing defenseman Eric Johnson, who was there for 13 seasons, so he's going to hit the open market as UFA for the first time in his career at 35 years old, but I believe he was the longest tenured Avalanche, if I'm not mistaken. Just a great warrior for that team. It was so great to have him after the Cup last year on the show. So
that's a culture guy. That's a veteran. You know who should pick him up? Florida Panthers, and they should go sign Oliver Ekman-Larsson to like a $1.5-2 million deal too, which I heard they're going after him. And we mentioned that last podcast that a competitive team could go land they need those character depth defensemen, and those are 2 guys they can go out and land and improve that team.
Yeah, they don't have to be a top guy anymore. Just fill a like
5 and
bottom
6s.
payroll for.
I think Oliver could end up being a 4 with if he gets his confidence back going. And they already got Montour and they got Ekblad, so and then is it Forsling?
Yeah, Gustav. Yeah,
Fuck,
he was great in the playoffs. Yeah,
That's a pretty good 6 right
Yeah.
there. Fuck, I should be a GM.
Well, yeah, kudos to Johnson, man. Great job out in Colorado, and he'll end up somewhere, no doubt. The Bruins obviously been up against the cap. We knew they were going to have to do something. So they basically had a salary dump. They traded Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno's signing rights to Chicago for a pair of RFA defensemen, Ian Mitchell and Alex Regula. Hall was halfway through that 4-year, $24 million deal, so B's basically just dumping $6 million. They had to make some room somewhere. Foligno's going to be UFA if he doesn't sign with Chicago by Friday. 24-year-old Mitchell has, 16 points, 82 games over 3 seasons with the Blackhawks. Also played for Monty in Denver. And Regula had, 1 goal in 22 games played over 3 seasons. So a couple of depth guys.
Well, Connor Bedard's got to play with somebody. I like the move for Halsey. He's going to get tons of ice time. Sucks that, because I know that he was really happy there.
Yeah, he loved it.
He loved it. He loved it in Boston. He felt like he was at home, and maybe all the talks about him not landing that huge deal, but he found a place that he loved, and that's really all that matters with the amount of money that he's made. So probably bittersweet for him. But hey, 2 years left. You're in a great original 6 team, and you have this first overall pick coming in who's going to make an impact instantly. Plenty of worse situations he could have found himself in.
Yeah, exactly.
And from Boston's perspective, it seems like they're clearing up cap space because they really want to sign Bertuzzi.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd rather Bertuzzi than Hall. I mean, because he's younger, first off. But plus, we saw what kind of player Bertuzzi was in the playoffs. I know Hall statistically was great, but Bertuzzi's a dirty, greasy, grindy player you got to win cups with. So, I mean, out of the two, I'd prefer Bertuzzi.
The only question is now if they somehow don't get Bertuzzi. I feel like if you're Don Sweeney, you don't make that move unless you're pretty sure you're going to be able to re-sign him in terms of what he wants. So I would be kind of shocked at this point if Bertuzzi doesn't go back there. But I did feel bad for Halsey, just knowing him, and we played golf a couple weeks after their season ended, and he did love it. Owns a place in Boston, really enjoyed it, loved the guys. So you just kind of feel bad that he was finally on a really good team and get shipped out after that brutal loss they had. So. But you're right, Biz. You're going to a great city. You're going to a place where you're going to play with this, potential superstar, even though he picked you over me. And he's going to get a ton of ice and should be able to light it up, and only has 2 years left, right? So maybe you light it up 2 years and you could sign another big ticket. So.
I think we should get ahead of it and just ban Connor Bedard from the podcast.
Okay, I'll ban him.
He's no longer invited to come on the podcast.
All right, fine. He picked you. If you want to do it, fine.
Another top five bad decision by this year. 2 in one
busy,
show.
You'll like this.
I'm on a roll.
We were laughing about
He's going to
this.
score 81 goals next year. And we'll be like, oh, shit, we already banned you, bud.
Damn it.
Another funny thing, though, we were talking about, I saw someone tweeted, sorry, I can't give them the proper credit because I forget who tweeted it, but it was like, it was like the Taylor Hall, everywhere he goes, they get the first overall pick. They win the lottery every time.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes to Chicago later, and the jokes start flying again because they're getting.
So that'll be his 5th?
I think so, yeah, right?
5th first overall pick of an organization he's involved with. It's got to be some sort of record.
Nugent Hopkins, Yakupov, Hischier, and Bedard.
It's after the fact, but it's so funny how it works out.
He was there for McDavid too, so I guess this would be 6, including himself.
Oof. Maybe, G, can you Google that?
I don't even know how you Google that. Jesus, sleep.
It was a long day.
All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Body Armor. Hey, Chiclets Nation, you're going to love this. Body Armor and Barstool Sports have a outstanding, groundbreaking partnership. Body Armor is going to be the official drink for Barstool Sports and Chiclets. It's huge news at Barstool. Everybody's crazy about it because Spittin Chiclets has been hydrating with Body Armor forever, and we always ride with Team Body Armor. Body Armor is the official hydration partner of Spittin Chiclets. Listen, guy, you guys see us every time we go down to New York. We're slugging the waters, the drinks, whatever. They've been there since the beginning. They have the best products, the best flavors, the best ingredients, and the best athlete partners. No artificial stuff, no fake ingredients. It's real hydration with electrolytes, potassium, vitamins, all that good stuff you need, even a dummy like me, because Body Armor sports drinks and sports water are all over the office. It keeps you going. And if you just need to rehydrate, the water's the best out there. You need to get on the Body Armor wave right now. Some of the top athletes in the world drink it all over competition. We're talking Trae Young, Christian McCaffrey, Alex Morgan, Donovan Mitchell, Ronald Acuna, everybody, all over the stuff. So right now, my favorite flavor is the blueberry banana stuff. outstanding stuff. Strawberry lemonade, my probably number 2. We stay drinking this all the time in the office, at the gym, on the golf course, in my recliner when I'm watching movies, when we're hungover. All body armor, all the time. Buy Body Armor now on Amazon.
We got some. Speaking of that, we got some fun stuff coming out on the Spittin Chiclets YouTube channel as far as a vlog concern.
Hey, how did we get on the red carpet? By the way, is there a story behind that? Like, how did we get?
We're back, baby.
Busy boys.
Busy.
Back.
They told me 8 days ago that I was helping host the NHL awards.
And then you use that to flex.
I said, okay, 2 things have to happen. The boys have to get red carpet access, and Pasha has to come off the NHL bans list. Pasha was on the no-fly list for the NHL.
Pasha McSorley.
Couple of clicks.
Hey,
Pasha's back.
even funnier
Pasha's
thing.
back.
I called out the Rangers Instagram person for unfollowing him because Pasha
Blocking
said
him.
for blocking him, and we met the person on the red carpet.
Yeah, the girl's like, I'm the guy. I'm the girl who blocked him. I said,
I
why'd
think
you do that?
She was
goes,
awesome. She was
chirping us.
awesome though.
I think she should
Pasha,
reblock
was she
him.
awesome?
That's what
No,
I
she's
said.
Cool.
I
Okay.
Yeah,
said,
all right.
block him again. She goes, no, I never will again. So
Yeah.
I respect
No,
that.
okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. The red carpet was cool as everyone's marching. It was really great.
Was it fun times?
Yeah, it was cool. Everyone was done
so
up.
who do we get? Who's everyone going to see on the vlog?
We got crazy. We got Kachuk, who was.
We got Kachuk in the sling.
It's crazy. Yeah, he's all banged up in the sling.
We got we got Pasta. Perfect.
We got Letang.
We got Letang. We got Clayton Keller.
I tried to get Braden Point.
Oh,
and he
Braden
just-
Point.
I love
pigeon-tossed
Braden
Army.
Point. But he didn't know he was being a good guy, like good Western guy, like signing autographs and just being a beauty, just working his way down. I met his mom and dad. Their all families were there and stuff too. It was really cool.
Brisebois told him to probably dust by us. That's why I got the dead fish.
Nah, it was like, I'm gonna dead fish.
Oh,
Biz.
hey. Oh, I totally forgot that I fucking was rooting for the Leafs against
Biz,
them.
I gotta call
Oh,
Cool.
that's why I got the dead fish.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
Well, you shouldn't have traded everything in the farm for.
Oh, we had a
Jamal.
good-
we had a great little
Sorry,
talk with
Yeah,
Shanny.
we
It's
say
on
we
Shanny.
met
Oh,
at
trees
trees
Buzzing to
grass.
Shanny, yeah.
Shanny said, hey, All-Star Game Toronto, why don't we do something up there? I said, you got it, Shanny. No doubt. We saw Tree living with him. So
My
it was
boner just ripped my
good,
jeans.
good catching
Oh,
up
yeah.
with those guys. Shanny goes, you fucking hate us, man. All you do is rip us. I said, your fans are cunts. He goes, I won't say what he said, but we got Shanny lined up. We got Shanny lined up.
Yeah, now we don't.
Yeah, and he fucking shit on, like, big shock. I shit on my basketball, not once, but
Yeah,
twice.
he go,
Oh,
right
he
when he
ripped
saw
it.
it, he's like, dude, that basketball shot.
First,
Like, yeah,
when
you
he
shooting
first
a
saw me,
medicine
then when he
ball.
left, he goes, so what was up with that?
What are you,
I was like,
Charles?
Jesus,
10 minutes
Shanny.
later,
Take a
he's like,
seat, Shanny.
He's like,
He's like, it was
seriously,
wet. It was wet.
What
His
was
ball
up with
was
the
wet.
basketball shot?
Fuck
And
you.
RA's just like, he had nothing for him. He's like, I've never shot a shot like that. And then I was kind of like, I didn't know. I got my own head. Shanny walked away.
By the way, Shanny's huge, eh? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
forget how big he is until
yeah.
like
You know
he
who's-
came off the elevator. Tree's a big guy too. They both
Oh.
came off. I was like, holy shit, Shanny's
Tree
huge.
living's
You
the
know
man.
you know who's a big fucking guy? Ron Francis.
Oh, is he huge?
He's
Oh, yeah,
built,
big center.
when you
man.
see him?
built like a
6'3".
brick shithouse.
Yeah.
I was joking around him about the expansion draft when Frank Saravelli was eating the hot wings, how he butchered it all. But where were we? I interrupted.
Well, no, we talk about Halsey trade. Now, one other thing with
Sorry.
like, even if they do sign Bertuzzi, they're still only gonna have like $4 million to sign like another 8 guys. So they're fucked.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a few more trades.
And
so
G
that's
says
why
they're
Get in
getting
shape,
Krug.
boys.
What's
G
that?
said Krug's coming back too. He tweeted it. Bring him home.
Yeah,
Krug.
I don't know. They might trade one of
Lot
those
of
boys.
For him, he makes $7 million.
A lot of action there with St. Louis.
All right, LA Kings sent defenseman Sean Dursey to Arizona for a second-round pick in 24.
Go Yotes.
He's making $1.7 million next season. He'll be RFA eligible for arbitration after the season. Basically, the deal frees up money for LA moves they might want to make, and also they have this prospect, Brant Clark. You were talking about the other day, 8th overall pick in 21.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Got a good slap
I think
shot.
he started the year up there.
yeah, he did. He started the year up, went back. But he's an offensive like a what do they call that? Like a river hockey kind of guy a little bit. Like
Like
Robo
Krug
Gamble.
a little
Gamble.
bit.
yeah, he's like he's kind of like is Dursey, but maybe a little bit more like
Talented, kind of.
creative. Like
I like Dursey,
A
though.
little
yeah,
more
I
of
like
a
Dursey
wild
too.
card.
Yeah, he's like
Well, boys, let's not bury.
he's going to
the
be
lead.
really good.
Let's
Brant
not
Clark.
bury the lead here. They're getting rid of as much salary cap so they can bring in a third elite center.
PLD.
And I would assume that they probably were kicking tires on Matthews, and now it seems like Matthews might get re-signed by Toronto. It seems like a strong possibility. So they go to the next
know
best
something?
thing as far as a
That's
guy.
why Shanny was in such a good mood.
Buddy, could you imagine the LA Kings in the West? You must, as an Oiler fan, you must be shitting your fucking pants right
I'm
now.
not worried at all.
Are you out of your mind?
We already did this.
What do you mean?
When you
buddy?
told me I should be petrified of the LA Kings, and then we dusted them in 6.
Okay, but I'm just saying that that's a different team if you now insert Dubois, right? You know that, right? So imagine Deneau, Dubois, and Kopitar in the middle of the ice
Wow.
with those other guys. Am I smoking crack here?
Okay,
already?
I don't know, you have any? You have any?
defensemen deal with McDavid and Leon more often than not. And if Brant Clark's that good, then yeah, I'm worried. But maybe if he's young and not ready to step in, Durzi was a pretty friggin' good defenseman for them. So it's not exactly like you're gaining Pierre-Luc Dubois and not losing anything else from your roster. So I'm gonna stick with my original thought that I'm not scared of the LA Kings as an Edmonton Oilers fan. All right, the whole league's scared of the Edmonton Oilers. All right, I'm not worried about your Kings, your 15th favorite team. So drop the subject, and hopefully if Dubois does go there, we can get by him again in the first round. And if not, I'll agree that you were right and I was wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Merles. If you're a GM, do you have any concerns about PLD given inconsistency? I mean, when he plays hard, he's a bear, but other times he kind of floats a bit. If you're a GM, would you make a big ass bid for him?
If I can get him under contract, because there's all that talk last year. I think it was at the draft
What's he
last year,
getting,
going to
9?
Montreal and stuff. So
This is a
I
sign.
don't want
this
him
is a
for
sign
1
and
year.
trade.
Yeah.
This would be a sign. Trade.
Exactly. That's what.
What's the
I'm
rumor,
fine
though?
with
He
it. I
wants
like him. He's a
nine and
big,
a half, though.
big
Like,
body,
you're gonna pay
young.
him-
He's still young. Like he's played since he's 18, so he feels old, but he's still young.
Kopitar's
So
probably
I
got
like him.
1 or 2 more years left, maybe one year left, and then he's off the books. I could see him taking a hometown discount just to stay in LA. He's made a boatload of dough, and all of a sudden you have an elite team like that to end your career. I think LA would be very wise to.
Is
lock
LA
in.
your new team, like for realsies?
I just think that Rob
loves
Blake
them.
has
He went hard on LA.
Yeah, I think they got a great team. I think they got a great coach, and they've had great prospects. Right, they got Byfield, who still needs to take that next step.
So Velarde would be gone. Iafallo would be gone. So it's like
I'm okay with them getting rid of Iafallo if that's the case. Velarde sucks too, but man, they got other guys. They got Moore. They got Fiala. Who else do they have up front?
Kempe,
who's
Kempe's
nasty.
stud.
Like they're
what a
buddy,
quiet
Arvidsson.
40-goal guy.
yeah. So they
Arvidsson, that little guy.
Arvidsson, who had a
He's
monster
sick.
playoff. So we just solidified their top 6 as being absolutely filthy. And then you could stick a couple plugs with Deneau, and he's still going to shut down any line.
Put me in
So
that.
are you officially off of Calgary? Like basically their
I
whole
was
team
off
is.
Calgary
He quit
halfway.
them after
Oh,
I shaved his
he's
head.
he's like with all the other Calgary guys. He's
I
off
was gonna say
Calgary.
everybody's
That's
on
what I'm
Calgary.
I am. I've been off Calgary since halfway through last season. I'm hardcore LA, Coyote till I die, and I bleed blue.
Yeah, we'll talk Calgary a little bit later, but couple other signings. Per Craig Morgan out in Arizona, they extended restricted free agent goalie Connor Ingram. He's going to make, 1.95 for the next 3 years. Looks like they're going to run it back with Ingram and Vizmelka next year.
Great tandem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because they slapped lipstick on a pig, and now we're drafting 6th overall. Way to go.
And what's his Przvetsov? They're like this kid down in Tucson. Actually, he's like 23 or 24. Is he like the big prospect?
Never heard of him.
No. All right. Okay. They also bought out Zach Cashin and Patrick Nemeth. They had a year each remaining on the deal. Do you know the Yotes have more draft picks, 12, than they have signed roster players, 11 right now?
I actually think that the Coyotes pick 12 times before the Tampa Bay Lightning pick once in this year's draft. Correct
No
me if
shit.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, but they got Braden Point, wears Crocs, eats chicken fingers, and pounds rums.
And
pigeon
dogs
toss.
you.
Yeah, and pigeon toss.
I don't
the
care. I
Chiclets
still
great.
like him.
If-
He's the most elusive star in the league.
Yeah, he has like a Nokia phone, I heard.
Okay,
still.
Is that true?
If
He
Arizona
wears
does
Crocs,
it's a burner.
Nokia.
if Arizona does a good job of like drafting here with all these picks they have coming up, it's not just this year, I think it's next year as well, then they actually in a couple 2-3 years, wherever they're playing, they could be a hell of a team. It just depends on, how well you do in terms of like recognizing what you need and picking guys who can play in the NHL in 2-3 seasons. But when you have like options like this in the draft and that many picks, if you hit a couple home runs, that's how you set your team up. It's the only way to do it now.
And
So
And Bill Armstrong is known for his scouting and drafting. So let's see the magician go to work. And next thing you know, it's going to be the, Desert Dogs back in the mix.
In Utah.
Cooley, put it in my file. Shut up, Whit.
All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Omega Accounting Solutions. Attention all business owners with 5 to 500 employees. Were you a responsible business owner who continued to pay taxes and employ staff during the pandemic? Omega Accounting Solutions is a small business champion helping you and your business get back the money you deserve through the CARES Act. Recover the payroll taxes you overpaid as a refund of up to $26,000 per employee, even if you got the PPP loan. Learn if you're a good candidate in less than 10 minutes with a free consultation. Omega was recently named the #1 best ERC company for getting your ERC funds by Merchant Maverick, a business comparison and review site. There's still time to find out if you qualify and file your claim. Again, that's up to $26,000 per employee. Call 855-505-DAVE or visit OmegaTaxCredits.com/BarstoolSports now. Carolina Hurricanes signed Captain Jordan Staal a 4-year, $11.6 million extension, 2.9 AAV. That'll take it through the 26-27 season. He'll be 38 then. Canes also working on a deal to bring Tony DeAngelo back in the fold, back to Raleigh from Philly. I mean, that's a pretty no-brainer deal, I guess, for Staal, right, Whit? I mean, that money.
Oh, yeah. I mean
what he does.
Your captain, you're getting him under $3 million. He's able to play not as offensively gifted as Deneau, but pretty similar defensively in terms of just shutting guys down. He's a horse. I love that deal. And it makes sense for him. You know, he's been there that long. It just like, it's a great deal for the team. It's a great deal for the player. Probably be his last contract, I would think.
Yeah.
38 years old at the end. He's already got a cup. Maybe he gets one more. I was interested to see and hear all about the league kind of shutting down the DeAngelo move in terms of them kind of calling it like cap circumvention. Is that
circumcision?
Circumcision. Yeah, sorry, on your foreskin. But they're talking about how he was playing for Carolina like 12 months ago or whatever it was. They're trying to say it's not allowed, but he was signed to the contract with Philly by the GM who isn't even there anymore.
Right, yeah.
Because Fletcher's gone. And so, like, to me, it's like that'll end up working itself out. I like that move. I mean, Tony DeAngelo is a bulldog.
He's like an offensive guy.
He's an offensive guy, but they're going to lose Gostisbehere. He did pretty well when he came over.
Yeah.
And he's able to produce points. His teammates love him. And I just think that the fact that Brindamore's willing to bring him back after already having him there.
He can rope him in, though.
No, but I'm saying he would never want him back if he didn't know, I want this guy here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that'll end up getting done, I would think. And that's a nice move. I mean, God help the Flyers next year. Holy shit. They're going to be horrendous.
Well, speaking of the Flyers, look, it hasn't happened yet. The Blues looks like they're trying to pick up Hazy, but Torrey Krug doesn't want to. Doesn't want to waive his no trade clause to go to Philly. We can understand that. So apparently Philly's trying to get maybe a third partner to like make this deal happen. But Briere, he's looking to add another. Probably take to 32-year-old defenseman. Has 4 more years left on his deal. $6.5 million as far as Krug. I mean.
Oh, that's why your agent gets you these things. Because if you're Torrey Krug and you've had the career you've had, you think you want to go to some shitbag team like the Flyers for the next couple of years? With Torts? Fuck that, man.
Well, just say you want to trade from there. Big deal. Fucking just say, yeah, okay, I'll go there.
Yeah, but they don't have to trade you. And my thing is like,
what do you mean, Army? I'm trying.
Well, if I'm Krug, I would just say trade me, Philly. I don't want to come there. They say, okay, I'll trade you.
Well, bury in the minors.
Why do you want to? Why do you want to stay in St. Louis when they're trying to trade you?
No, I agree with that.
Because there's been situations where guys have said no. He's still a valuable asset. He gets put in the lineup because they have to play him because he's a top 4 defenseman, and he plays well. And next thing you know, the relationship for whatever reason can get reconciled.
It's like
but
Jake
I
DeBrusk.
don't view it as I don't think that they don't like Torrey Krug. I think they look at it like, hey, Hazy can add maybe more to our lineup right now in a sense of what we need compared to what maybe Torrey Krug brings. So like I said, the no move, no trade clause for Torrey Krug, flex that as much as you can when you're trying to get dumped
you
off
signed
to some shitbag team like that and hold out until you're able to land in a place where you want. Because I think does he not have a kid on the way, somebody said? Just had a kid, like all of a sudden you're moving to Philly. Your remaining years on this deal are going to be miserable. Absolutely not. And even if it makes it uncomfortable in the locker room for the time being with St. Louis, well, hey, find me a better place to land. And
the only question
deal.
is, and I'm with you.
Don't sign bad contracts if you don't like me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you that like I'm lucky enough that I was in a position where I can get this no trade. I don't want to go there. I'm going to use what I have in my deal.
You had that?
No. I had it, but it didn't kick in till the final 3 years of the deal. So Cheryl shit my ass out before it kicked in.
Veteran.
But no, I'm saying Krug. Like I understand. You're right. Like this, I have this no trade. I'm not going there. Then if St. Louis is like, well, if you don't go there, we'll put you in the minors all year. That's when you're like, and I don't know if that's happened, but it could. And that's when you're like, oh fuck. Like would I rather be in the NHL or would I rather be in the minors? Like. That's when there's decisions to be made. And Army, I agree with you. Like, no doubt, as a proud like pro athlete, you have a little bit of an ego. Like, these guys don't want me. I don't want to be here. But I would almost be willing to try to like business saying like play well and maybe have them thinking at the All-Star break like, wow, kind of happy he refused to go anywhere.
Do you think he doesn't want to go there, or he doesn't?
I think he'll go.
Do you think he doesn't want to leave St. Louis, or he doesn't?
No, he doesn't want to go to Philly.
Buddy. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So. He's Torrey Krug. Like, he's established.
But say you go
guy.
to Philly. Say you're like, I don't want to go to Philly. Fuck, I don't want to go there. But whatever.
And then you're stuck there.
And then you don't play good. And then you don't play good.
Don't
well, then you don't get paid.
Well, then you go to the minors.
No,
now you're playing in Lehigh Valley.
Now you're
rich
already.
You're giving up your leverage, though, Army. If you say, all right, send me that, you're rolling the dice that Philly does the right thing.
I'm just trying to think of a way out for him so it works out for him.
Well, that's why they got to get
around the no trade.
A third team to get involved.
Yes, exactly.
And then
that was worse than NHL on Sundays.
No, nothing. My hat's not worse than NHL on Sundays.
Judges.
I'm not even close. That's not even
on the same planet as NHL on Sundays.
I'm trying to pass the buck.
Hazy still got 3 more years left at that deal, $7.1 million. He had 18 goals, 36 assists last year, 81 games. Actually, career high in assists and points for Hazy last year.
He didn't play in the third period of any games.
Yeah, you're done, Hazy.
And they would be eating half that. Philly was going to eat half that.
Okay, yeah, if it does go through. So
St. Louis would be getting him at what, 3.5?
Yeah, about
You're laughing
that. Yeah.
at that.
No, absolutely. And all right, one more deal before we get to our interview. Pasha, I don't know if you want to like get comfortable with you. Unbutton your pants, whatever. The Devils extended Eric Haller, 3-year, $9.45 million deal, a little over $3 million a year. Let's see, he had 41 points, 80 games last year, 6 points in 12 playoff games. What's your take on it, Posh? Come on, jump on. I'm
Come on in. Come next to me, my boy.
Up there already, big guy.
I think it's a great deal. I think he's
use my back pad.
He's really proved he was a character guy in the locker room. He had a really weird year in the sense of shooting percentage, just cratered, was missing nets, hitting posts, but then come playoffs, had great series, and I think Jack Hughes loves him. He's kind of like the older guy, the vet in the locker room, keeps the guys in line, so I love the deal.
He's like a floater at like a male strip club. Look at he look amazing.
Sean George.
He's a devil's
amazing. He looks amazing.
He's already dealer that snuck in.
Get the chest flow in there, or else
Hey, Pasha's here. Pasha's here. I got this shit, man.
I got a question for you, Pasha. Any concern, and it is a concern, but for you that they're still like small. Like.
It isn't undersized.
I mean, look at we just talked about Stalzy. Stalzy like neutralized these guys. He's a big Gronk. He just leaned on him.
Well, that's why they need to sign Meyer.
They need to get a bulldog. If they don't get Meyer, you're gonna freak.
They're gonna sign Meyer. That's happening.
Is that a Pasha guarantee?
That's a Pasha guarantee.
Wow.
It's a Pasha
Take
guarantee.
it to the bank,
Take
guys.
that to the bank.
If I was them, I'd go after Barbashev as opposed to Shining Meyer.
Absolutely not, because some team's gonna overpay Barbashev, give him $6 million a year. Give me Meyer for. Meyer's going to come in at between 8.5 to 9. I hope closer to 8.5. But Meyer's
you're telling me as a Devils fan, if they sign Meyer to more money than Hughes, you'd be okay with that? I think that's a deal. You can take $1 less than Hughes.
Obviously, I want that, but listen, the cap's gone up already since a couple years ago when Hughes signed, and you can't just stick to that philosophy forever. I mean,
the Bruins did till McAvoy, pretty much.
It was Bergeron. I think I'd rather Barbashev at 6.
Answer your question, Army, to answer your question, who won the cup before Vegas? The Avalanche. They were the second smallest team in the league.
Were they?
So I know size matters, but now
this guy has all the stats.
This is a league that's it's a copycat league. It's not the size of the ship.
It's the motion of the ocean.
It's a copycat league. All of a sudden, Vegas wins. Everyone thinks it's size again.
It's not the size of the Forzy.
You know what? The Devils are just fine.
The motion of the calamari.
Pasha, also named
Stinky
Travis Green
cheese.
associate coach as well. Is that going to help what power play? Penalty
Yeah, I
kill,
like
what?
that move. I liked Greener as a coach in Vancouver. I think,
Yeah, I like
like losing Brunette, he was there to, kind of fix the power play. And honestly, the power play wasn't great. I think they're middle of the pack power play, and to have guys like Hughes, Heischer, Brat, like all those Hamilton
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
point. Like,
useless versus
you should
Carolina.
not be middle of the pack. You should be top 5, top 6 kind of power play with those kind of guys. So, yeah, I think there's an upside there. And you know what? Let's be honest. Lindy is an older guy, so I think he's going to pass the torch to someone, and that could easily be Greener in a
All
couple
right.
of years.
See what happens with
Our
Ruffles. Well,
Devils insider.
gang, it's
Thanks
time.
for having me, boys.
Anytime, Posh. It's time
How
for
about this fucking interview we got?
But I know I say that I didn't tease it earlier because it's such a big fucking deal. Jaromir Jagr. I mean, we get an hour and a half, close to a G. I think an hour and 15 minutes.
I
Unreal.
feel like I'm best friends with the guy.
Seriously though, I think he said how 3/4 way through this is the first podcast he ever did. I got a little tear in my eye when I
Not
heard
to
that.
mention that we started he was in Prague. It was 12:15. It was just after midnight. And we got an hour and 25 minutes with an all-time great, the second leading scorer in the history of the National Hockey League,
Yeah.
who missed years of, not his prime, but, years where he could have ended up with 800 goals he talked about. So it was amazing talking to him. I still remember being at a Bruins game, a couple fans in front of me going, this Jaromir Jagr is unbelievable. This guy's unbelievable, this Jaromir Jagr. Yeah, so we can't thank him enough. And without further ado?
Yeah, you got it,
Without
buddy.
further ado,
We're killing it.
We're
Hall of
buzzing.
Famer Jaromir Jagr. This interview with the legend Jaromir Jagr is brought to you by Chevy. Yes, I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance to talk about Chevy. We are a part of the Chevy EV family. And we have big news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. We're here at the awards. The true MVP is the Chevy EV Silverado. We got a chance to see it. We got a chance to drive it. We got a chance to sit in it. It's a complete game changer. It's available 400-mile range, GM estimated on a full charge. Once you plug that thing in, you're driving 400 miles till you got to charge it again. Over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate. That stuff matters. Don't pretend it doesn't. Large, I'll say enormous, 17-inch diagonal display screen. You want to use the navigation. You want to change the music. You want to maybe adjust the air, the AC if it's a hot day, the heat if it's a cold day. 17-inch diagonal screen to do all that stuff. It can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing. 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the WOW mode. It's a special mode. That's a quick truck. And up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more. The Chevy EV Silverado is a game changer, like I said. Go to Chevy.com to learn more now.
It's time for our guest, and we've been waiting for this one for a while. This dynamic right wing was taken 5th overall by Pittsburgh at the 1990 draft. He played 24 NHL seasons split between 9 teams. He won 2 cups, 5 scoring titles, a Hart Trophy, 3 Pearsons, and will eventually have his own wing at the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's a pleasure and an honor to welcome Jaromir Jagr to the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, Jaromir. How you been?
Thanks, guys. Everything good. I appreciate it. It took a long time. I know I got asked a lot, and I said no because I didn't want to talk to anybody. Plus, I didn't speak English for 5 years, so it's gonna be tough for me right now. But I'm gonna try my best.
You were still playing this season, right, for Kladno?
Yeah, I still do. I still play. Well, I didn't plan to play. I didn't want to play, but our team had a virus, and there was a lot of guys sick. We had only 12 guys, so it would be automatically we would lose. So I was skating, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna try it just to be on the ice, and I did pretty good. I actually said, if I start working out again, so I might play. So I keep playing till the end of the season.
So do you always stay on your blades, even if it's men's league all season long? You skate a couple times a week, no matter what.
Well, because I'm the owner. If I don't play, I want to be part of the practices, be as a coach. Tell the players what I learned in NHL, because we're the only team in the Czech we have a small ice. I did it for myself. We got the NHL size rink. We're the only one who had it. So I learned a lot in NHL, so I can tell the guys.
You're the only team in professional hockey history to play from the blue line in. in a full game.
Yeah. No, you
When
do
did-
not.
When did you
Yeah.
become owner of that team?
Well, 2012. My dad owns it since 1993. He didn't want to do it anymore. It's just a lot of time and a lot of, I would say, headaches. It's totally different economy. Like than if you're owner NHL, it's totally different because you got the revenue for the fans. It's just the money from the TV. It's coming in. If you're an owner in Czech Republic, it's a tough job. You have to, you get, I would say, 15% coming in from the fans, and the rest of that, the 85%, you have to find from the sponsors, support the city, the state. You have to ask all the people all the time. And my dad, he was older. He didn't want to do it anymore. So he said, take it. And, I tried my best, and I did it for 10 years, but it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. It's not easy.
Well, we know you obviously love the game. Did you feel like it was part of your duty to try to pass on all your experiences and what you've learned throughout this amazing, I can't even call it a career because you're still playing, like to just give back to your country?
That's the city I was born. I learned to play hockey. My dad took me when I was 2 years old, and it's the same rink. And the ring didn't change. It changed 3 years ago. We changed the top because we couldn't play it anymore under that. There was a chance that it's gonna collapse. So we have to change it. But when I become an owner, the ring was the same. Without the ring, I wouldn't be playing in NHL, and I wouldn't be a chance to be an owner. And my dad did it for 20 years. So I felt like it's my destiny. It's my thing to do it. Otherwise, if I don't do it, there's no hockey in our city. So it's just you cannot tell the kids, hey, listen, tomorrow you don't go to skate. Well, that's the way I felt. But I'm not saying I did a great job, but I just tried my best.
Amazing.
You mentioned your dad, and I think Biz would agree with me that growing up, kids my age, all we ever really heard about was Jaromir Jagr as a young kid and his work ethic and 1,000 squats a day, hundreds of push-ups.
Yep.
Like, was your dad, he brought you to the rink early on. Did he teach you that work ethic? And can you describe like what your daily routine was when you were 10, 11 years old?
That'll take up the full hour we have with him.
Well, I started when I was young because I was born in the family. We live on a farm. You have to work to survive. I have to work since I was 7 years old to help the family to live on a farm, to feed the cows. Just a normal thing on a farm. And I had no problem to work out. To work. I had it in my gene after my dad and my mom. I had it. I had no problem. Plus, when I think about it back, it's given me so much power. I never had a problem with my back because, when you work on a farm, you're working with your whole body. It's not you go to the gym and, do it 10 times here, 10 times here. You finish when you're done. Like there's even if you're tired, you have to finish because, hey, tomorrow it's going to be rain. You have to finish tonight. So you start 10 o'clock and you finish 10 o'clock at night. So, when you're in the gym, you go in, you go there, you go, oh, I'm tired today, I'm going home. You're living on a farm. It's not. And, well, I don't know. I forgot what was the question because I started talking about
It was about all the squats. Like, was it just the farm work or was it the other stuff?
No, that's what I learned. So I never had a problem to work hard. My dad, living in communist years, and, my dad was smart enough to figure out if you're not going to be a sportsman, you're not going to have a chance to see other countries because it was illegal to go see other countries. Well, you're going to have a job from 6 to 2 afternoon like everybody else, and you're not going to have a good life. So that's the only way to see other countries, to live better life. You have to be a sportsman. And, there was two most popular sports, soccer, we call it football, or hockey. And, I was born when I had 14, 13 pounds. I was, 60 centimeters. I was a big kid. I still think I have a record in hospital, the biggest kid. So my dad knew I'm not going to play soccer because you have to be thin and fast. So, my body was perfect for hockey. It took me there when I was 2 years old. We started skating when I was 2 years old.
And you just loved the game from the start? Was that how it went?
Well, I don't know. I don't really remember that. And when my parents talking about it, they said, I was crying. I didn't want to be there. It's normal. I think it's normal for everybody. And I wasn't good right away. I start being good when I start doing the squats. When I started doing the push-ups and all the extra stuff. And even, I think it's normal for the ego. Even the kids have an ego. Guys have an ego. All of a sudden, I was 7 years old when I started doing the 1,000 squats. And when I do it, I become in 6 months, I was the best in my class. Next 6 months, I was playing with year older. I was the best there. Other 6 months, it went right away. And I started like it. Nobody have to tell me, all of a sudden, hey, I was better than everybody else. So I keep doing that. I did more. When I have a break in school, I did 2,000. So,
Jesus Christ.
I love that because,
Do you still do the squats every day?
No, I would die if I do it right now. Well, if somebody told me you have to do it, I would probably do it, but I won't be able to sit for, or walk for a week. And, if you say the number 1,000 squats, it's a big number actually, but I split it 150. I did 150. When I woke up, I did 150. I had a breakfast. I did 150. Then I went to school. I came home from the school. I did 150, 15 minutes break, 150. And before I go sleep, I had 200 and 200. And, it took me 10 minutes exactly. You got one squat for 1 second. I had it calculated, everything. So it's 1,000, but it took you only 10 minutes. Hard work. That's what it is when you add it together.
Yeah, when you got drafted by Pittsburgh, you were 18 years old. What did you know about the NHL? Did you know a ton about it back then, or were you still kind of foreign to you?
Absolutely nothing, and we couldn't talk about it because during the comments, there's some players who defect. In 1985, there was a World Championship in Prague, in Czech Republic, in 1985. So the Canada came with a very good team. When you think about it, there was a lot of good players. It was Mario Lemieux, Ron Francis, Stevie Eisenman, I think, was there. So, and there was a young kid, 18 years old, number 66, and he was so tall, and he was in the quarterfinals, he scored 2 goals against Russian and beat the Russians 3-2, and it was Mario Lemieux. And since then, he was becoming my idol, and I started following him and the NHL.
So when you got to Pittsburgh, it was a total culture shock coming from a farm in Czechoslovakia to this big American city?
Well, I was the draft was in Canada, so it was in Vancouver. And, there was the second time I was in Canada. First time when I played for national team, I was 16 years old. I think we were Saskatchewan. There was we played like 10 teams against the juniors team, I guess. And there was a second time I was in Vancouver when I was drafted. And of course, it was a big shock. And even for my parents, they never been in the other different countries. So my parents went there, I was there, and it was exciting. So, and after the draft, I don't know how they did it because I had no visa at all. And Craig Patrick, the GM for Pittsburgh Penguins, somehow he get a visa, and we flew from Vancouver to US, and I was 1 week in Pittsburgh, and then I went home. They didn't want me to go home because they were afraid I'm not gonna come back because then nobody knew because there was after the revolution. The revolution was it's November '89. This was 6 months later. Nobody knew what's gonna happen, so they were kind of afraid to let me go home. But I was kind of homesick. I didn't say hi. I didn't say bye bye to my friends from school. So I want to go home. And I did it. I went there for a month and a half, and I came back before the season.
And was that your first ever experience coming over to North America at that time?
It was the second. It was the second time. First time I was when I was 16 years old. I was in Saskatchewan. I was Canada. It was the second time, but it was different because first time we just played hockey. We traveled from one arena to other. I stayed at the hotel. I didn't see anything. It was the first time I kind of enjoyed it, and it was excellent.
So at 16, was that the first time that maybe your name started popping up where people were like, "Oh my God, this guy from over there, he's incredible"? What age?
No, I wasn't. Oh, I was pretty good, but I wasn't that good. When I play, I think the break was 16, 17 when I become pretty professional. I signed with the man. I started playing with the man, and I think that's, I don't think I've become a famous, but people start knowing, oh, this guy can be good, but I wasn't famous.
At what point did you introduce that legendary mullet that you had? Did you get drafted with that salad you had? Because that was just, and what was your inspiration from that hair?
It wasn't salad, it was a beautiful style.
I wish you still had it. They never got rid of it.
But it's not a style anymore. But I think I had it, maybe not that long, but I just love everything from, from US, from the West. So back then we could only listen to Czech music. So all of a sudden I had a chance to listen to heavy metal, Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, the Metallica. So they all have a long hair. So I thought, that's pretty cool. I want to be like them. So that's why I did it.
So you were listening?
Yes, I did. Motley Crue was my first tape. It wasn't a CD. CD back then was a CD. It was like, they put it to the cassette. That was the first thing I bought it. Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood, if you guys remember that, that was pretty favorite. It was my first, it was a CD, but that's first music I bought, and I love John Bon Jovi.
They asked you who your idol was. You said Tommy Lee. It wasn't a hockey player. It was that guy.
Tommy Lee, yeah, that was him.
I look at the roster of your rookie year, and I see Yuri Hrdina. Is that Jan Hrdina's dad?
No
relation.
No. That's just a name. Yuri Hrdina, he was pretty famous Czech guy. During the communist year, there was a rules. You couldn't play NHL unless I think you played 10 years for national team or so many games. They let you go, but they would took almost all the salaries. You don't get any money. You just had a chance to play NHL. So I think Yuri Hrdina had those 10 years for national team, and he went legally after the Olympics '88. It was in Calgary, so he signed with the Calgary, and I think he won the cup there '89, and then he got traded to Pittsburgh, and it's kind of saved me. I don't know what would happen to me because I was kind of homesick, and I didn't speak very good English. And it was kind of tough for me. All of a sudden, you play 80 games, and you travel a lot. You couldn't speak much to your teammates, and it was kind of tough. People don't realize it, but I was the first European to play for Pittsburgh. So the players back then wasn't used to it to have a European on a team. It's not like right now; it's kind of half and half. But back then, it was totally different. So he kind of helped me a lot. All of a sudden, I have somebody who I can speak my own language. I can explain him how I feel. He can show me around. He took me out. So it was win-win situation. I hope it was win-win situation for him because we won the cup when he was there. But for me, for sure, it was great. And Jan Hrdina, he came a little bit later. He was my center man, but it's just a
no
name.
relation.
No.
What did you think about the game, the NHL game, the North American style? Was it hard at the beginning? I mean, you had a great rookie year, but were there times you were down in the dumps, like not playing well? Like, what was that rookie season like for you as far as you can remember?
Well, of course it was tough. I remember the first player I met right after the draft when Vancouver, Craig Patrick, we flew to Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of guys. During the summer, they practice at home where they have houses. Not many guys practice in Pittsburgh, and there was a tough guy in Pittsburgh. That's the first guy I met, Jay Caulfield.
Great guy.
Yeah, great guy, but he was huge back then. He was a tough guy, but he was huge. So Jay, he was the first guy I met, and at the arena, we went to the arena, and Craig said, I had a translator there. I have a guy who translated, and he said, "Oh, this is one of the players." And I look at my dad. I said, "Dad, I don't want to play here. I don't want to be here. If everybody like that, I don't have a chance, but they said, don't worry about it. Not everybody is that big. You know, you're gonna be okay. So, but the first guy I met, Jay Caulfield, like he was. You know,
he's the only guy who could keep up with your 1,000 squats a day, so we sent him over to meet you.
that was a warm up for him.
And even he's walking the next day like, oh my God, what the fuck was that? Stiff as a board.
I saw Jay 2 years ago, so he's probably in better shape than he was 25 years ago. He's still in great shape.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. The first time you played with Mario, whether in practice or during a game, did you guys just have like instant chemistry because you're both so super skilled, or did it take a little time?
Well, don't forget I was on the fourth line when I started playing. In my first year, and Mario he had a back surgery, so he started playing until I think February. That was his deadline. Number one line was Mark Recchi, Kevin Stevens, John Cullen. That was the first line, and they were all young, and they had such a great year. I think they almost whole year they were 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4 in scoring. They had a great year. Mario was out, and they take care of the team in scoring. They were unbelievable. So Mario started playing when he was February, and slowly he got good shape, and he was excellent in playoffs.
I always wondered, like, you get to Pittsburgh and the team just explodes. So, I mean, it had to be kind of shocking, right? They had such a high pick for you, and then all of a sudden this team's so good. And like, were you almost surprised at the success right away? I mean, like, you're so young, you think, oh, we're going to win the cup every year. As you get older, you realize how hard it was, what you guys did. Like, was it surprising that year to go all the way?
I think I had a different goal than, to win the cup. I think my goal, and I know it's a long time ago, and I don't really remember all the feelings, but my goal was to survive. My goal was to just survive somehow. Don't get homesick, because it was the first time I was without a parents. I was 18 years old, and no English. I don't want to repeat it again, but my goal was to survive, and and we keep winning, and I was on a third, fourth line. But when you look at the lineup, and I love it, because it's kind of crazy, because I met during my hockey career, and I played for 9 teams and 24. You guys set the stats, early for a long time. But the connection with the players I have, when you win something with them, it's totally different. I remember all their names, and and wives, and when I see them, I hug them. It's totally different. It's totally different, and people they never win anything with those guys. They never probably understand what I'm talking about, but that's a kind of special connection, and it's special feeling when I see those players. I'm truly from the heart happy to see them. And when I saw Jay Caulfield probably after 20 years, 2 years ago, I jump on him, I give him a hug. And, it's a different feeling. But when you look at the lineup, it was such a great team. And, and I name it the first line, that was Mario, Joey Mullen, Paul Caulfield, Larry Murphy, they were on defense. Tommy B was in the net. It was like, when you look at it, Brad Trachy, I don't want to, Phil Burke, and Brad Trachy, he just won the cups before. And when you think about it, in Ireland, they told him, he's, you're too old, and he was 32 or whatever, 31. They call him too old, but for me, it was great, because they call him too old, but all of a sudden I was playing with Brad Trachy on the line. Me, guy from Europe, play with somebody who somebody thought he's old, but he, the experience, the hockey sense, the understanding, just even I was on a fourth and third line, I was playing with that great players.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, who rubbed off you on the most? You said you met Caulfield early on, so was that somebody that you gravitated towards the entire time? That's the guy I saw for after a long time. I didn't see him for a long time, and I just, it's just different feeling just to see him. I was surprised to see him.
because it was somewhere I didn't expect that. And I was so happy to see him. But like a month ago, I was in Pittsburgh, and it's not even a month ago. I saw Brad Trashy, Paul Coffey was there, Mark Korecki, Phil Burke. I saw them again. It's great kind of memories, and it's great time every time I see it.
That's awesome. So I would assume that you getting to kind of ease into the league by playing in those third line situations, in some case fourth line. Few years of that, finally, after you guys had won your 2 cups, all that and being around that had rubbed off on you when then you personally could kind of bring it to that next level. Because obviously you were at an incredible level as a rookie, but then all of a sudden it was like lift off. What do you think? What do you think made everything click to where all of a sudden you were a superstar?
It's tough. It's tough to say where is it click. I think the biggest change was 1994-95. There was a lockout. There was a half of the season only, and I had a lot of points before, but I was still second, third line, not probably top 5 in scoring in Pittsburgh. Nothing special. I did my job, but nothing great. Nothing the team cannot play without me. I was okay. I was always voted by the fans to the All-Stars. I don't know why, because the hair probably. Or
the 99 points. That could do it too.
But I was kind of embarrassing because back then I was voted my second year. I was voted to the All-Stars, and I was on a 4th line in Pittsburgh, and I was voted number, All-Star. I kind of feel embarrassed to play with those guys.
You paved the way for John Scott.
yeah, John. That was the same feeling. It was the same thing. He was voted there. So again, I just forgot why I started talking.
Well, no, as you said during that shortened season. So did you come in better shape?
Yeah, thanks. You remind me. So I was playing in Europe. I was playing. I was practicing. I was playing some games. So right after the lockout end, some guys took them a little bit more time to get in the game shape, and because I play in Europe, I think it's helped me with the start. And all of a sudden, I got the good start season, and I was playing a lot of minutes, and that was the first time I won the scoring, and Mario wasn't on the team. Mario wasn't there. So I think that was a break for me when I make a name for myself, and even the respect from my teammates and the coaches in Pittsburgh organization.
Do you think that the legendary goal in the 92 finals was the greatest goal you ever scored? I know there's so many of them, but every hockey fan that's ever watched has seen it. It's just an all-time beat 3 guys. Is that the best one you ever scored in your mind?
Well, the best one, all depends how you look at it. Probably there wasn't the nicest. I scored a lot of nice goals, but it was important. It was in the final game 1, and we were down 4-3, and I think it was 5 minutes to go. Right now I don't remember how I did it. I know I did it on YouTube, but if you would ask me how I did it, I don't even know. Just instinct. But it's it became an even bigger goal because Mario scored probably 10 seconds to go and a game winner. So the game was so important because we were down 4. I think we were down 4-1 and half of the game, and we changed it, and then we swept the Chicago 4-0, and I think the first game at home kind of, make the note.
I got the chance. I was lucky enough to play about 10 games with Mario Lemieux, and obviously that's years later. He was quiet. Was that how you remember him too in the room? Just did all his talking on the ice? Was he pretty quiet then in the locker room?
Well, he was. He just, when you're that talented and that good, you don't have to say much. You just do it. And I have a lot of great memories with him. I love Wayne. Wayne is, he's got, I think nobody ever gonna break Wayne Gretzky's records. It's kind of It's kind of impossible unless they make the nets like in the soccer games, that big. Otherwise, it's kind of impossible. And I love to watch Connor McDavid and it's his other, fantastic player. But what Wayne did, 200 points, and I think he beat the time by 30 years. He played hockey 2000 at 1970 or 1980. He beat the time by 30. It's like you would put a Ferrari in 1990, car right now. He just beat the time by 30 years. But what I saw, what Mario did, even when he wasn't healthy, how much pain he had and how he played. It's tough to describe because if you witnessed that, if you couldn't witness that, you wouldn't believe it. If I start talking about it, people think I'm lying, but he was just that good. Plus, he had the size, and I always said, you guys said that I won the 5 scorings, but I never won the scoring when Mario played. Never. I won scoring when Wayne was playing, but I knew I had no chance if Mario played more than 60 games. I knew I had no chance to win scoring. And I won 5 of them. I never win when Mario played more than 60 games.
Does he remind you when you guys see each other? Does he remind you and throw a little jab?
You don't have to. He knew it. He knew it. It's like, it's impossible. Like, it's just like, and when you think about it, he was just genius. He was the genius, the way, he always find a way to score or make an impact on a game. And he's different than anybody else. He find a way. When he didn't feel good, he used the other players. When he feel great, he scored 8 points. He's just different. I knew a lot of, I played with a lot of talented guys, but they had one style. Sometimes they had one style and they play the style all the time. If they play good, perfect. If they play bad, if they feel bad, there was turnover after turnover. But Mario, he always knew how to get impact in the game.
I got a quick one here before you hop in. You were giving Wayne praise about no one's ever going to touch his records, especially now Ovi might catch the goal record. Do you ever sit back when you're looking back on your career and think, if I would have spent all my time in the NHL and I would have went back over to the KHL, that maybe you could have passed the goal record? Because you could, like, with the time that you missed, you could have, it seems like.
Oh, when I came back from Russia, my goal was, I wanted to do 2,000 points because, it's look a little bit better than 19, whatever. It's the number 2 starting at the numbers. It's kind of different. I never did it. I want to score 800 goals. I never did it. But I never say if, because when I went to Russia, and it was I think it was 2009. I'm not sure. It was 2009, 2000. And if I didn't go to Russia, and when I come back, I don't think I would play other 6 years. I don't think I would play that long. And it's just my feel. I don't know what would happen. But when I went to Russia, it's kind of end something and starting something else. Probably maybe mentally, because for 20 years, if you start season, I don't know, September 15, the training cup, and you finish in the playoffs, and you got most 2-3 weeks off, then you have to start practicing again. And if you do it for 24 years, even if you love it, you get tired of that. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it was different system. It was less games. I had a chance to, because you got 4 national breaks in Europe, so I had a chance to see my parents. I didn't see them for a long time. I had a chance to see them 4 times a year during the season, and all of a sudden they was totally different. I think that in Russia, that because you got less games, you practice more. I practiced a lot more. All of a sudden, I was in a lot better shape, and after 3 years, when I came back, I kind of had a new energy, new excitement. And I don't think, I don't know, but I don't think if I went to Russia, I don't think I would play that long.
Wow. I got to ask, I'll never forget. I think it was a couple days after Christmas when Mario returned that time in 2000. And right away, you score, he assists on the goal early on. It's like, did you guys know he was coming back? I think it'd been 44 months since he retired in 97. And when did you guys start hearing he was coming back? Do you remember all that?
Well, I got the story for you guys. I don't know, maybe it's gonna be too long, but I have a story.
No. We got all night, buddy.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. It's my favorite stories. With the Mario, how he decided, when he decided, and how he let me know. So well, when he decided to come back again, because he was 3.5 years out. So he had a son, Austin, and he was always, when we play Mario, he was the owner, and he was always playing, with the stick in our dressing room. And there was a trainer, Steve Latin, and he had a big poster when he was shopping the skates of Mario Lemieux. And little Austin was playing with the stick, and he asked Steve Latin, who is this guy? And Stevie Latin told him, that's your dad. And Austin said, my dad played hockey. And Stevie Latin said, your dad was the best player in the world for a long time. So, and somehow this conversation, Austin and Steve Latin get to the Mario. And I think that he clicked him, and I think because of this, he decided to come back and show his son how good he was.
Wow.
That's a story. I think that's happened, and so I think Mario started practicing. He didn't tell anybody, and I kind of had a tough start at that season. It was 1999. 2000. It was 2000, 2001. But I had a kind of tough season, tough start, and and Craig Patrick called me to, we were in Boston, and Craig Patrick, our GM, called me and said, when we come back to Pittsburgh, Mario want to talk. So we came back from Boston from the trip, and I went to his office, and he said, what's going on? I said, well, we don't play very well. I don't play very well. I would like to get, some players, but I know we don't have the money. And, we were in bankruptcy back then. And he said, well, I know one guy who could be good. I said, well, no. It was so funny. And I didn't get it back then. I didn't. And I said, well, okay, but we don't have the money. It cannot be any superstar. I said, well, he might be pretty cheap, and he's pretty good. I said, well, who is it? And he said, it's me. I'm practicing already for 2 months. Don't tell anybody, but, I decided to come back on December 26th. That's why I found out, And it was tough. It was tough for me to keep it for myself. I didn't tell anybody, but because Mario was afraid, we tell, the media is going to be there all the time. So, but that kind of news, it was probably the toughest thing for me to keep a secret. Don't tell anybody, just that's how I found out.
That is an incredible story.
And we click right away. I think it's a great story. And, we scored first shift, we scored a goal. He scored a goal in the middle of the game. And, we won 5-1 or 5-0 against Toronto. And, he had like 3 points. Next game, he had other 3 points, 4 points. It was unbelievable. It was, and that's the other story. How many professional players? I mean, doesn't have to be hockey or any sports. Can maybe Michael Jordan can take a 3.5 years off and come back, practice for 3 months and dominating. He played 40 games and he had 80 points. But it's just, that's why I gotta say, hey.
I lost my game in one off season. That's why I couldn't play anymore. Took me one off season. It was gone. This guy's fucking taking 4 years off, comes back in, just unbelievable. That's an incredible story. How many people you think know that story about his kid?
Well, I was telling a lot of these stories to my friends in Czech. I don't know if I ever say in English, so I'm not sure. But it was, I think it was a great story. It's
incredible.
I think that was the. As a parent, because I remember when Austin was when he was born in the day, and Mario was in hospital. I kind of remember everything about not everything, but most of the time about Mario. So we played together. It was 1996 or 97. I'm not sure, but Austin got, he was born, and Mary was in hospital for 3 days. He didn't sleep. He was there, and then we played St. Louis that night, and he just came for the game, and he still had the from the hospital. I don't know how to call it, the wrist. On a wrist, he still had it, and I said, "Hey, keep it. It's good luck for you." And he kept it. He scored 4. He scored 8 points. He scored 5 goals and 3 assists. Well, I guess it wasn't luck, but it was just very Olympic. But he didn't sleep for 3 days. He was in hospital, and he scored 8 points against St. Louis.
Jesus.
What were the circumstances that led to you trade from Pittsburgh to Washington?
We just lost to New Jersey in 2001, and it was a tough loss. Well, Mary just come back from the retirement, and I didn't have a good playoffs. I didn't score many goals, and I was a captain. I didn't have a good playoff. So in a whole second line, it was Marty Straka, Alex Kovalev, Robert Lang. They were all free agents. So, and they all have to be signed. And back then, Pittsburgh wasn't in good shape, and it's just still about the bankruptcy, and it wasn't in good shape. So, I was talking to Craig Patrick. He was still the GM, and I told him, Craig, I think the best thing for you and for the team is if you trade me away, because with the whole lineup, we had a great lineup. We didn't beat the New Jersey, so next year, if I stay here, you cannot sign all the players. Somebody would leave, so our team would be worse than it is right now, and we still didn't win this, with this team. So, and I told him there's no reason for me to be here because Mario gonna play, the fans gonna come. So I think the smartest thing for the team is to, if you trade me away, and you can sign all those free agents, and still have a great team. That was my thing, because I didn't play good in that playoffs. I was kind of injured, but I didn't feel good. Plus, I felt that the fans kind of, they knew I didn't feel very well, and they started kind of a little bit booing me during the games, and I felt like it's something. It's not the same like something like before, because they kind of when you play okay, or you play good all the time, all of a sudden you have a bad playoffs. It's just people got used to it, and they start. The feeling wasn't the same. So that's what happened, and then I got traded. People think, or saying I wanted to get traded. I didn't want to get traded, but I felt like it's the best situation for Pittsburgh. That was the best for, and I still think if I think I would do the same thing again if I was in the situation, and when you put plus minuses together, I think for that team that was the best thing to do.
We've been talking recently on the pod about players back then maybe not having as much say as to what their future holds. Was it you who picked Washington? Was that the team that you asked? No, they just decided and got the best.
Well, I didn't, and you kind of didn't pick. But back then, my salary was so high, so everybody thought I'm gonna go to Rangers. There's there's no other team who can afford it, the salaries. Everybody thought I'm gonna go to Rangers, and Glenn Sater was the GM in New York, and I think I heard that's the only team they talk about it. They just couldn't get the deals done because Pittsburgh was asking for the money. Back then, they was still allowing, for the money. I think it was the last trade allowed with the money. Back then after that, it was only players. But there was $5 million cash involved in that trade. So, and everybody felt like Rangers the only one who can pay it. And all of a sudden, the Washington show up and I went there.
What did you
think about your time in Washington? I know maybe just 1 year you made the playoffs. Is a time the team was not as good as you thought when you got there, type thing?
I don't want to make some excuses. It's a long time ago, and things happen for a reason. So, I was leaving Pittsburgh. I got traded. Then when I was I won 4 straight scoring titles. So if the new team trading for you, they're expecting the same thing. They're expecting Jaromir Jagr to score 120 points. Well, I would expecting that also, but you're coming to the different team with the different players, different style of hockey games, and everything is new. So my numbers wasn't the same like it was in Pittsburgh, understandably, But the new owner, the new GM, expecting, and I don't blame them. I would probably expect them the same thing. But the team didn't make a playoffs. I didn't play the way they expect me to play, or I didn't score as many goals, as many points, and that's why I think it was a kind of short living in Washington. And I got traded. I got traded 2.5 years after.
Was that where the Jagr salute was created, or were you doing that in Pittsburgh already?
Well, it was in Pittsburgh. It was in Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of guys. A lot of people ask me, why I did it. And to be honest with you, I started it because back then I was a big football fan. I watch every Sunday. I was sitting on TV. I was watching, American football. For me, it was the best sports ever. So I was watching it all the time. Back then, John Holloway and Broncos was,
Terrell Davis.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it was from?
No shit.
Yeah. So I started. I love it. It was a different celebration. I started doing that, and all of a sudden, I was kind of more lucky when I did it. After a goal, I scored more and more and more. I keep doing that, but it was, John Oliver, Davis, the Broncos, and they were good.
Oh my God, I didn't know it was about that. That's crazy.
Why did you wear 68?
Well, because the 1968 there was a revolution in Czech, so there was a 6 months revolution. The last 6 months, so they changed the president. It was for 6 months there was a freedom in Czech Republic, and after 6 months the Russian tanks came to Czech Republic, and the Russian took over for other 20 years. So I took that because because we're living on a farm, and I spent a lot of time with my grandma. And because we were on a farm, it was kind of illegal to have a farm during the communist years. So, my grandfather got in the jail. And actually, both of them, they were kind of rebels. So both of them, they were in the jail, one 6 years, other 5.
Holy shit.
But my grandmother was talking about it all the time. She was kind of talking about her husband, so my grandfather. So, and they released him because he was a political, he was in jail because the politics. So they released him in that year for the 6 months, and because he got sick in the jail, so he died during that. So I took it, first of all because the revolution 68 plus my grandfather, he died in 68.
And you had brought up when you went over to Russia and missing those years in the NHL. But when you went over there, did you plan on coming back at some point, or at that point in your mind you were done?
No, I didn't. Well, when I was leaving Pittsburgh, so what happened. I was a free agent after the season, and I feel like I still can play on a high level, and I wanted to sign 2 years contract. But there was a lockout. There was 2004. There was a lockout, and I was in Omsk. I was in Siberia. I was in Russia, and I played there for half of the year, and I like it a lot. And I think the team likes it, and the governor of the city likes me. So when the Russian team find out I'm a free agent after that season, he sent the governors. He sent the GM of Omsk back then. He sent him to New York, and we talk about it. And he he said, listen, the governor sent me here and he wants you to come to play in Russia. And I said, listen, guys, I'm in New York. So, and back then, New York was like the top class, like top organization back then. There was like, all the organizations were great, but there was New York above that. How they treat players. They weren't
the Fugazis then.
Yeah. Anything you ask, you had it. It was in New York. So I said, if I don't think I can be happy somewhere else in NHL, I would probably be because I love the game. But I said, if I don't sign in New York, I promise you guys, I'm going to go to Russia. So we talk about after the season with Glenn Sater, and I wanted to 2 years, and he said, well, let's do only one. You're not young anymore, and I believe I can play. And because I promised them, if I don't sign in New York, I go to Russia. I wanted to keep the promise.
Man of your word.
But July 2nd, I think Edmonton called. And
no thanks.
You could have been playing with Whit.
And I didn't want to break the promise. So I just like, I believe in karma. So if you promise something and you break it, it's just not good. So I thought I'm done. I give all the stuff I had in New York away, and I flew to Russia because they this summer they're practicing together. It's not like NHL. Even summer, they have the summer camps, and so I have to go after the season right away. I went to Russia. That's why and then I never thought I'm gonna come back. So, but when I was in Russia, I was playing for national team because there was no playoffs. The season started before the World Championship, so I was playing every year. I was playing for national team, and there was a national team 2013, 2011. So there was a national team, and we play in Slovakia, and there was a lot of guys from NHL to play that tournament. A lot of great players from US, Canada, even for our team, Russia. Ovechkin was there, all of them. And I had a great tournament. So we play against US semifinal, and I scored hat-trick. We won 4-0. I scored hat-trick, and then I said, "Fuck me, sorry guys." I said, if I can score against those guys, I still can play NHL. So I decided, I'm gonna come back because that game kind of changed my mind. I still can do it.
I have to ask this question. I mean, you said the decision because you made the promise, but I mean, the salary had to have been pretty decent.
Well,
were they coming comparable to what New York was paying you? Was it more? Was it tax-free and duffel bags? Like how are we doing here in the old school K?
No, it's not tax free. But I would make more money in NHL. After I got in Edmonton, I would make a lot more.
I would. That's what Oilers fans want to hear.
We could have had a great connection, Jagr, me and you.
Yeah, we could. It didn't happen. But it wasn't right away. It was in July 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, because I if I remember the right way, they want to sign Osa for long term. So he signed 1 year somewhere. I don't know if he went to Detroit or Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Detroit.
He signed only 1 year. So all of a sudden they were under the salary cap, Edmonton. So they have to sign somebody. They had no other choice. They had to sign back then. So they offered me a lot of money, but I already make a promise to. I had to pack everything. I had already bags on my shoulder. So anyway,
it's pretty much Russia. It's like Siberia in Edmonton.
Yeah, Cactus Club in Russia, though.
How many years? How many years? And maybe if you want, how much money were they offering? Come on, Jagr, break it on Chiclets.
I was playing
part ownership.
Yeah, you own McDavid's rights.
Yeah, that would be good. Actually,
you should have been talking to Mario about the deal that he cut in Pittsburgh, and you could own the fucking Oilers right now.
Yeah, hey, I'm the owner. It's a different kind of owner.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they pay you in cash or check in Russia?
Normal. They paid.
No, those crazy
they
stories.
Don't fucking pay normal. Stop it.
They I don't know right now, but they did back then. There was just normal. There was
yeah, man. You would know if getting the the key to the rink and going like at midnight and going skating by yourself. When did you start doing that? And the first time you asked someone, did they kind of look at you funny because you wanted the key to the rink?
When you kind of older, you have to look for the edge every time, and because I never had a problem to work hard, my advantage is I don't get tired when I practice late. I don't get tired. I don't get quick, I don't get strong, but I also don't get tired, so I can practice. When I took some young guys with me to do it, they couldn't play next day. They were tired, but I I don't get tired. So when I came back from the Russia, and I know I was 40 years old, so you have to look for everything to be perfect. So I always pick the apartment closest to the arena. I don't have to travel or spend the time on the road, and to save energy. And I knew I needed, to work on my game, to go to the gym to work out. So, I always ask, and they kind of, the management, the teams, they like it because it's a good example for the young guys to show. The old guy has to do it. So if he does it at 40, you should do it automatic.
I want to say the where it started really picking up was in Philadelphia when you ended up coming back after those years in the KHL. And what was it like for you to all of a sudden be getting to go on all these different stops? Because it seemed like you were you were in Philly, then Dallas, then Boston, New Jersey, Florida, Calgary. It seemed like, obviously Florida a little bit longer, but was it fun at the end to go experience these different teams and cultures?
I don't think it was fun. I didn't do it to do it to meet more people. I didn't do it. I just you have to understand that I was 40 when I was in Philly, and in that age you have to be good year after year. You cannot have a bad month or 2 months. You can't. You're done. Everybody say, well, he's old. He's not gonna play good anymore. When you're young, you have a bad 2 months. They said, oh, okay, a bad month. When you're old, you're done. You play bad because you're old. Nobody cares. So that, and even Glenn Sater didn't want to sign me when I was 35. He said I'm old. So same thing. They thought, okay, he had a great year, but nobody guarantee us. He's gonna have another good year. And there was a salary cap, and you don't want to sign 40 years old or 40 plus year old guy if you're not sure. So I did it in Philly. I was happy in Philly. It just and I was playing on the first line with Juru and Hershey, and there was and we had a great team, and it was a lot of fun. But there was a lockout again. So, I went back to check, and all of a sudden Dallas, called. They heard about, my work ethic, and, they said, well, maybe you can show our young guys, how to work, and, show them how to do it, show them something. So, just, and then New Jersey, and it kind of always something happened. When I got lucky and I went, for example, in New Jersey, I don't think I would be there if Kovalchuk wouldn't go to Russia. And all of a sudden, Kovalchuk went to Russia, and Lou called me. I don't think Lou Lamolero would ever, ever bring me on a team. But he took a risk, and even for me, it was a great experience. And
you had a great year that year.
Yeah, you did.
I love Lou. Yeah, It was good. It was great.
How did he call you?
Too. We're very close. We're very close with Lou.
Yeah, this is Lou. I know you never thought you'd hear from me, but we want to sign you. Are you interested in coming here? We lost one Russian. You played there. There's a connection. You signing or what?
Biz, that's a good Lou. Yeah, I thought it's Lou. Exactly, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Before you sign, you have to come here. I want to see you before you sign. He wants to see me eye to eye. If I'm in good shape.
He's
let
probably
me see
more
your bicep,
intense.
Jaromir.
He's probably more intense than the people. Yeah, let's do a little physical here. he's probably more intense than some of the fucking owners you saw over in Russia. But I was actually going to go to New York quickly. Was it fun for you to embrace the lifestyle? Because you're kind of this like local celebrity, or did you really not buy into that bullshit and you stayed private?
Well, you know what? Just I had a lot of fun, playing hockey, and and even in Pittsburgh, I enjoyed my life, and and my advantage is I never drink, so I like to go out. I'm not saying I was out every day. I never went before the game, but after the game I went out, but I never drink. So, and the last call was 1:30, so it was perfect. I don't mind to sleep all the time. I can sleep afternoon, I don't care. So 1:30 was last call. I went home, I slept, I went to practice, and I sleep after practice. So I never had a problem. My huge advantage was I never drink. But when I play hockey, and I was all in, I didn't have to. I don't have to. When I got older, and I don't have to go anywhere. And so I don't remember I went out in New York. I don't. There was hockey only for me in New York.
That's awesome.
Hey, did you ever meet those traveling Jagr guys that would wear all your jerseys
Those
to
are
all
his
the games?
kids. Those are his kids. In every city he had along the way.
Yeah, that's them. Don't tell anybody.
That's why he had to keep playing. He had to pay child support.
But they're not my kids because they're older than me. So, but I gotta answer the question. I met them. I saw them. I was talking to them, and they're from Calgary. So my last NHL start was in Calgary. So I see them every game. They were every game. They even have a special car. And they're the traveling Jagr, so they park before the Saturday. So
it was like Cosmo. He had all of them living in his living room.
Yeah, they were living together. Yeah, they were living together.
That's gotta be flattering though to see that on the way out. Like I know we talked about all those stops towards the end, but at a certain point, you probably knew the ending was coming. And do you feel that you kind of got the send off you wanted / deserve? Like, did you feel that?
Well, when you're playing, you don't think it's over. Like, when I was in Calgary, even if a lot of guys think it's over, I don't think your brain lets you think it's over. Otherwise, you see it the way brain telling you how to see it. So it's just, there's a lot of guys think they're better than they are, and because the brain telling them to. So even in my last year, maybe even if I hadn't played good enough for the people that they see me, I didn't see myself like that. You don't, and I think it's great because you don't you still have to believe yourself even if you're not good anymore. So you have to. Your eyes see you differently. Sometimes you can see it in the girls. Sometimes not very good looking girl thinks she's the best.
And it makes her hot.
Those are the ones that I take home.
And and the other way around. Like it's just, I think it's fair. Even the other way around. It's beautiful girl doesn't have a confidence at all. Like she doesn't think of it. Like she always finds something on her. So that's the way it is. I think.
See, that's why I drink. You said you don't drink. You could solve that problem by having a couple pops. Oh God, we're out of control right now. This is amazing. This is fucking amazing.
We got to ask you about Top Legend, right? And this is the reason that we're lucky enough to get you on, and you're a part of this. Can you explain to everyone what this is and what's going on? And I know we have an ad we're going to do for you guys, but you can let everyone know.
Yeah, well, this is something I have it here. It's like, I don't know if you see it.
That's Wayne's. So you and Wayne Gretzky are doing it.
It's beautiful. So this is collectible stuff. It's a value note, collectible. Look like a money. Look like the currencies. Because there is hockey cards, there's pictures, people wanted to sign this, but this is kind of special. I don't think nobody can make it. It's made in the Czech Republic when they print the real money. It's kind of impossible. I don't think anybody else can do that. It's just nobody. And it's exactly, just like you got all the stuff. protecting it. It's just the best thing I ever see. Like when I got it today, actually, the vein, and it's just perfect. So I met those guys. I would say probably a year ago. They asked me when I was 50 years old. They said, "Oh, let's make it something special for you. You got 50 years old, and you're pretty famous in Czech Republic. Let's do it something to people have it forever. Something nobody ever did it." And we thought this is gonna be cool. So we went to it's a government printing company. We went there, if we can do it. They said yes. So we did it, and we did it 10,000 of them, kind of collectible stuff. And it was sold out after 3 hours, and it was only for Czech people. It was sold out right away. So, and we were talking, about it, and we knew it's kind of special, and nobody can make. First of all, nobody can make it. It's a collectible. It's something never been done before. Never. I don't think it's gonna be. And just. It's like you have a hockey cards. You're collecting, pictures, jerseys. This is something special. This is something I like. When I see it, it's like a real money, But it's just, it's. We're gonna have a press conference in Las Vegas on 28th, and when it's gonna be there, and we're gonna introduce that.
Top Legends Collectibles. Do you think you could bring that money to the table and they'd give you back chips in return?
No, it's $100, but it's worth it $10,000. How did you get the country to kind of clear Wayne in that regard? Obviously, he's a hockey legend, and how did Wayne get involved? Because you guys are going to be in Vegas together, launching this in the next couple days when this interview comes out. Well, because I'm involved with those guys, and it just we want to do 50 of them. The top guys, top sportsmen, top legends. We want to do 50 of them. And because I'm a hockey player, and it's always, it's important who's number one. Me as a hockey player, who's got all the records, it's Wayne. That's why it was important for me, the number one sportsman, it's Wayne Gretzky. So, I started talking to him probably 6 months ago. Maybe before that, and slowly try to introduce him. What is it? And and nobody ever saw it before. So I was talking to his agent and Wayne, and we come to the argument, and he's gonna be there, and it's just this is the way it is. But it's kind of beautiful. It's called you got stripes, and you got all the stuff you needed to have it like a money, like a currencies, but it's not eye collection. It's a memorable stuff. It's just for me, it's kind of. I saw it today. It's beautiful. So hopefully people gonna get it, and they're gonna enjoy it, because it's something special you cannot get anywhere else.
I love it. Thank you.
It's gonna be
much.
The Top Legends YouTube page on June 28th if you want to check it out. Once again, Top Legends YouTube page. I got one more question for you, Jaromir. Was outside of the NHL, was the 98 Olympics your best memory in hockey outside of the NHL, or even more so? Yeah,
you said outside the NHL, so it was, especially for our fans, for the Czech people, it's just, that's the first time the Czech hockey, won the Olympics gold medal, and it was the first time all the professionals team, all the professional hockey players were in that tournament. It was 98, and just everybody were expecting that would happen, and nobody really gave us a chance to do good. But as a player, you're not that bad. How the media talking about it, you just know, because we had a Dominik Hasek back then. He was the best goalie. He was playing for Buffalo. He was good. So as a hockey team, you needed to have a good goalie, and we had it. Plus, all the players on that team, they were kind of, first, second line on a lot of NHL teams. So we knew it. We have a pretty good team. Our biggest advantage was, we had a coach who knew it's gonna be playing on a big rink, big size. So he took half of the guys from Europe. The best European, we had 2 lines best Europeans and two lines from NHL. And I think it was our advantage, kind of. We had a perfect mix, because a lot of teams took it only guys from NHL and who play on a big ice. If you play on a big ice, they call it hockey, but it's a different game. It's got 2 extra meters on each side. It's huge, especially for defensemen. For forecheck, you have to play differently. You cannot forecheck like crazy because you got tired right away. So, every hockey player have to need probably 10 days to get used to that big ice. And in Olympics, you don't have a big day. You don't have 10 days. You have a 1 day practice and you go play right away. So it was our advantage. Half of the team was playing in Europe on the big ice.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the Gretzky not putting out for the shootout? Was that when that whole thing happened? Was it against you guys?
Yeah, that was the game. That was the game.
Were you even thinking of that at the time? Did you notice, or were you like, did you find out after the game? That's a pretty shocking thing.
You know what? I found out after the game, but I was thinking about myself because I have to go fourth, and like back then, and I've never been a big fan of penalty shots or breakaways because I wasn't my game. I was good in 1990, 90, 91, 92, but the goal is kind of figure out how I do it, and I wasn't good anymore on the breakaways. So I have to go forward, and I was so nervous. And Patrick Roy was in the net, so I was thinking about myself. And I don't even watch the other penalty shots. I was thinking what I gonna do, and I was so nervous. And I missed. I scored the post, but we needed 1 goal to beat it. But it was, it's kind of different because when you're playing for national team, you have a different responsibility. You don't play for yourself. I don't mind if I make a mistake and I pay for it. I don't mind at all. But it's just if I make a mistakes and a lot of other people are sad, it's kind of killing me.
Did you not get to go back to Prague and party after, or did you get to go back to the NHL? Or was the whole team able to go?
Well, just we did. We flew after the game. I remember the president gave us the private plane, so it just we make the final. The president gave us the private plane, so our whoever the girlfriends and girlfriends or parents, they had a chance to watch the final with the plane, and the team would fly with the plane to the Czech Republic. No matter what happened, we would flew back. So somehow, I don't know why, the plane was take off. They didn't let them land it in Russia. They have to go through the China, blah blah blah. So
because you beat
parents,
Russia.
some girlfriends, some wives, and my girlfriend back then, they arrived. They after the game, they didn't watch the game. They missed the game. They arrived and they just find out we won the gold. So they didn't have a chance to see it on the TV. They didn't know what's going on. Back then there was no cell phones. They couldn't talk to anybody, so nobody knew how the score. So they landed and we already won it. So then we flew back and we were there for probably 10, 11 hours. Our president was waiting for us in the house. We went to his house, and then we did the big celebration on a square, the famous square in Czech Republic. And I would say that was a crazy time. There was a parade. That was crazy. It was I think whoever was there, like I feel like it was everybody were there. It's like they were talking about it right now because it was a first big thing for the Czech Republic after the revolution, like something big won. So it's connected all the people together, because it was a tough 40 years during the communist years, and it was a first kind of tournament with the sports. The team won. So they was kind of connecting. It was a different, like it wasn't only sport, it was a politics and everything together.
Yeah, man. What's 1 or 2 things you miss in North America that you can't get over Europe? Anything?
Oh,
the traveling Jagr, man.
Well, it just, I think this kind of the service a little bit better. The competition of I don't know how to say it. Just if you want something, there's more companies to have it, so you get everything quicker. This service kind of better than in Europe. It's understandable that the US is so big, and it's just economical, so it's so great. So other things. So it's and I was in the US, in the US last time 2 weeks ago. So I like it that they don't worry much about politics and other stuff. They enjoy their life. I was in Florida, maybe it's different, but they try to enjoy their life. They don't worry stuff they cannot control. I think in our country and in Europe, you kind of worry about everything. You wanted to talk about it, you have opinion about everything. In the US, they know they cannot change much. They enjoy it. They like it. They wake up, there's a sun. They enjoy the day with the family. They enjoy how they want it, and there's always next. I think in our republic, and we worry about stuff we cannot control much. We talk about everybody have an opinion about everything. That's I think we should take a little bit more, enjoy the life a little more.
Jaromir, you said you're not you don't really worry about the what ifs, but through your amazing career and how it was all carved out from your childhood and the work ethic and the fact that you wouldn't drink, is there still something that you look back on that maybe you regret, a situation that you handled that throughout your entire career? But it seems like everything you did, like the trade from Pittsburgh, you gave it thought, you went and said, this is the best thing I think for everybody moving forward. So it seems as if though maybe there wouldn't be any for you.
Well, I make a lot of mistakes, and no question about it. It's everybody does, and but regrets, I don't. I believe things happen for a reason. I am what I am because I lived the life I lived. It just, everything make you stronger. The good things, the bad things, it doesn't matter. You have to survive, learn from that, and then you become what you are. If I wanted to change something, probably that would be good in that situation. But we don't know what would happen back, what would happen after. Maybe we would, maybe because the situation happened, I become a stronger and more experienced, and I learn from that, and then I use that tools for the next problem. I believe every day is just a learning progress till you die and it's over. But it just, even the game, even the practice, everything, you have to understand that you're just learning to feel better next day or to be better next day. There's nothing else. If you're going to wake up tomorrow, you just have to make sure you shouldn't compete with anybody else. You should compete with yourself and make sure you do maximum to be better next day or to be more experienced next day. That's the way I look at it. And of course, not every time I'm able to do it. And, even, you had emotion up and down, and it's understandable because sometimes it's tough to control yourself and you're not happy with the results or whatever. But that's the way you should look at it. Just never be up or too down. Just take the whatever is it. It's just the experience. This is just same thing. And it was kind of funny because just I don't want to talk about it, but I didn't tell anybody, but my friends. But this Christmas, I went to the church on 24th, and just the priest was talking about all the situation happened, even the bad situation happened. It just make yourself stronger. And I was thinking about it, and I said, well, it's the same thing like a gym. Like if you go work out in the gym and you're going to work out all the time with the light weights, you don't get stronger. Sometimes you have to take the heavy weights to get your body stronger. So more problem you're going to have, you're stronger, stronger inside you're going to be, because you're going to learn how to fix it. So I was thinking about it when I driving from the church and I got accident. I got accident. I hit it. And I said, well, I was asking for some problems to make my inside stronger. All of a sudden, December 24th, you have to call somebody to tell you, it's just, well, I didn't want to tell the story, but that's the way I look at it. Every problem just make you stronger. They should make you strong. If you want to be strong inside, well, you got to challenge it. You got to take everything as a challenge. That's the way it is. It's not, of course, everybody would want it to have an easy life, the perfect. I don't think he would enjoy it. I don't think he would enjoy it. And then he would be 70 and you're going to meet your friends and what are you guys going to talk about it? It's all about stories anyway. It's about the stories. It's just when you sit with your friends, what are you talking about? About right now, it's kind of funny. Back then, 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't that funny. But now you're laughing, it's just laughing, and it's all about stories, about the memories, about the stories.
Yeah, that's a great insight, man. That's incredible. What do you got? Do you got any more, RA?
Well, I guess how'd you like your time in Boston? I know you had a good run here.
We go.
Put me on the spot.
He's the Boston guy. He loves Boston.
I'm the Boston guy. No, we loved having you here. I'll tell you that.
Well, Boston. I was there for 2 months, so it was a short experience. And the marathon things, the terrorist attack that happened when I was there. And that's just kind of my memories when that happened. Then it was at the playoffs. That was a very special team at Boston. A lot of tough guys on that team, good players, tough players. I still cannot believe it right now we didn't win it. But I feel like there was the toughest team I was playing on. And it's just every line had a tough guy or somebody who can fight. Luch, first line, Horton, Marshy, Marshy, I'm not saying he can, fight anybody, but he's kind of dirty and he know how to do it. Bergy was there, there was like third and fourth line, there was a lot of tough guys, defense, there was, leading with Big Z, so it was I feel like it was the toughest team I ever play on, you could do it, actually as a skill guy, you could do anything because nobody got a touch. It was, and, there was, even the fans, like I remember my first game, I was playing in Boston and my first face-off, and I remember exactly when was it with the offensive face-off on the right side. Then I got standing at then eventually, like people were standing. My first shift, and I was surprised, like 41 or 42 years old Jagr, like people standing, like just there was a great feeling. I remember that. Face off, offensive zone, right.
You're a legend, man.
Yeah, so sometimes we have other guys on the show, one of which is he works with the Pittsburgh Penguins, Colby Armstrong, and he said he wanted us to ask you about when you first got to Pittsburgh, how Trottier helped you work on your shot and helped you develop it into a lot more lethal. Can you maybe go into that and how he helped you and how he crafted your shot?
Well, I don't think it was Chaz was the guy who showed me how to do it. Brian, he helped me in different ways. I don't think he was exactly helping me with my shot. Brian helped me because he was my first roommate. He's a great guy, understandable. He kind of tried to talk to me slowly because he knew, I don't understand English. So he bought a dictionary. We had a dictionary in the room. So, we played together. And, I think the best thing he did for me, he kind of adjusted to my game. He knew what's my strength. He knew I wanted to have a puck. And even he was a great player. He tried to give me the puck all the time. So he kind of like not many superstars like that or legends adjusting the game to a young guy, and he did it. And when I go back to the shots, I think the most who helped me with the shot, I think Bob Johnson was the coach. And Bob Johnson was the coach, and he was the reason I was drafted. He saw me, he knew it. He just, he came from Calgary, and he was, there was a Craig Patrick, Badger Bob. There was all those guys from 1980 Olympics US teams. They were there. So he knew how I play, and he knew my shot wasn't good enough, because in Europe I didn't have to shoot much. I kind of dig everybody and make a move on a goalie. In NHL I couldn't do it. There were a lot stronger guys, stronger defense. I couldn't get that easily, so I have to learn how to shoot over those guys. And Rick Kehoe, he was the assistant coach. And he is the guy who scored 50 in his career in a year, and he scored 450 or 500 goals. So he was the assistant coach back then, and Bob Johnson told him, "Hey, teach him how to shoot." And we did it after every practice. He stayed with me for 30, 45 minutes, and we just were shooting wrist shots all the time. He teach me how to do it. He showed me how to do it, and he had a time, and he stayed with me on the ice.
Oh, I can't believe it. I mean, it's 1:30 in Prague right now. We're getting to chat with you, so
that's what time he used to go home from the bar. He's been training this his whole life.
Last year.
That's why he's got his suit on.
Last call's a little later over there.
I'll ask just a quick one. Then, was there a reason that you never drank? Like, what is it? Just choice?
Well, I don't know. We never, my parents never drink. We never had alcohol at home. My dad never drink even beer, and we never had it. So, and I was afraid of my dad. So I don't know what would happen if I ever drink. He was a tough. Nobody could touch me. Even my mother. Even if I did something wrong, nobody could touch me. But I was afraid of my dad.
And then one more. Give me one more. You played for 22 head coaches in the NHL. Did you have one that you despised?
You know what? I got to tell you, I love everybody. I do. Even if I wasn't the nicest guy, and honestly, if I would be a coach, I wouldn't want to be coaching Jaromir Jagr back then. I wouldn't. And I wasn't easy to coach. But in the time, all the coaches I had, they were great. They were great, and I learned from them. And if I could see them right now, I would tell them I'm sorry. And if I did something wrong to you, and if I wasn't nice to you, I apologize, because I wasn't smart enough to do it differently. I was complaining. I wanted to be on the ice all the time, and I admit it. I wasn't the nicest player to be coached, but all of them I had. They I don't want to name it anybody who helped me, but they were all of them. They were all great, Especially when I come back from Russia, then you kind of look at the coaches differently when you're 40 than when you're 22. I appreciate it. All of them, and I think I become a good friends with them, all when I got older.
I think you were also 6 months or just 6 months younger than the one that you had in Calgary. So at a certain point, you started catching him in age.
Well, I had him in Dallas first, so I think there was other reason why I went to Calgary, because we were together in Dallas.
Boys, that was a hell of an interview.
Unreal. Jaromir, we can't thank you enough. Once again, Top Legends on June 28th. Going to be on the YouTube. Any final other notes on that, Jaromir, or anything else on Top Legends you want to share?
Guys, to be honest, I don't like to do a podcast. I think that's the first podcast I ever did. I don't mind to talk people, but first of all, I just learned. I don't want to, tell people what to do. There's I just think like people should live their lives how they want it. I don't want to tell anybody what's the best way to do it. That's why I don't really talk to anybody. But I had a great time, and it was I would say 1 hour 30 minutes, and it was so quick. I don't mind it. It's kind of tough with my English, because I cannot really explain exactly everything.
No.
I would do it in Czech, but I had time, and hopefully the fans or wherever the people, because you guys were pretty big, and a lot of guys watching you and listening to you, so hopefully they're gonna like it, and maybe they're gonna take something positive from my interview. So I was happy to see you guys.
Don't worry.
Even it's 1:30. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Time to go out.
Don't worry about the accent. We just added you as a co-host. We'll see you same time next month. Once a month, we got you. Hey, I'll pay you in Wayne Gretzky currency too.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure was all ours.
Legend.
That interview is brought to you by Chevy. Yes, I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance to talk about Chevy. We are a part of the Chevy EV family. And we have big news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. We're here at the awards. The true MVP is the Chevy EV Silverado. We got a chance to see it. We got a chance to drive it. We got a chance to sit in it. It's a complete game changer. It's available 400-mile range. GM estimated on a full charge. Once you plug that thing in, you're driving 400 miles till you got to charge it again. Over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate. That stuff matters. Don't pretend it doesn't. Large, I'll say enormous, 17-inch diagonal display screen. You want to use the navigation. You want to change the music. You want to maybe adjust the air, the AC if it's a hot day, the heat if it's a cold day. 17-inch diagonal screen to do all that stuff. It can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing. 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the WOW mode. It's a special mode. That's a quick truck. And up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more. The Chevy EV Silverado is a game changer, like I said. Go to Chevy.com to learn more now.
Once again, can't thank Jags enough, man. Just an awesome interview. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it as much as we did doing it, because he's a funny MF, man. It was good stuff. So other big news last week, Biz, your coworker is going to be entering the Hockey Hall of Fame, getting inducted this November. Henrik Lundqvist. I think he was probably the one slam dunk people were pretty much expecting him to get in first ballot. Of course, he won the Vezina back in 2012, was a finalist 5 times, 459 wins, at the 6th all-time, the most among goalies born in Europe as well. Only 18 goalies have a better playoff save percentage than his .921. Also won gold at the 06 Olympics, silver at the 14 Olympics, and he said he had 2 guys on his wall, posters on his wall when he was a kid that also joined him. Tom Barrasso, he won 2 cups with the Pens back in the 90s. He won the Calder and Vezina as an 18-year-old rookie. Imagine that. And Mike
Right
Vernon.
out of Acton, Boxborough High School.
I was at his last high school game at the Boston Garden. Sat right behind the net.
Posters on his wall.
Yeah.
Lundqvist.
Yeah, he said he looked up. Yeah, he said he looked up to him as a kid. Yeah, and Mike Vernon, of course, he won his first cup of the '89 Flames. Terry Crisp, coach of that team, we met him tonight. And then, of course, '97 with the Red Wings, he won the Conn Smythe there. His 365 wins. He was 7th all time when he retired. So, also Pierre Turgeon got in. He's a guy who people have been talking about him for years and years.
I couldn't believe he wasn't in already.
Yeah, most points of any eligible player not in the Hall of Fame. 1,327 points in 1,294 games.
That guy was
with Sabres, Islanders, Canadians, Blues, Stars, Avs, and 97 points, 109 playoff games. So
I think of him as an Islander.
Yeah, 100%.
When I think of the greatness of Pierre Turgeon, it's his Islanders days. And granted, as you get older, you move along. And I also think of Dale Hunter crushing him into the board.
I was at that game.
No shit.
I was at that game.
Dale
The
Hunter
very last row, the upper deck.
No way. And Dale
brother.
Hunter said, I didn't know he scored. There was 20,000 people going bananas.
Did I do that?
One of the all-time dirty hits in NHL history. But Pierre I actually, I can admit, I was like, wait, he's not already in the Hall of Fame? I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats to him. I was very surprised. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a time when there's been 3 goalies in one class.
That was shocking, I think, this year. 3 goalies,
And we always talk about the snubs. Mogilny's a discussion every year we can have.
So people compared his numbers to Turgeon's, and they're basically identical. They're right around there. I just think it's a matter of time. And I think it would be fitting if they actually saved Mogilny to the same year in which Alexander Ovechkin make it more of maybe like a Russian theme induction where he's going to be first ballot. So if he keeps getting pushed back, I don't know, at a certain
How many
point,
years has it been? 17 or 18 years since he's been eligible?
Yeah, he's been a long time. And I just think it's a matter of time before McGillney gets in. And people, every year, you hear the barking more and more. I feel like I hear it for Roenick, Tkachuk, and McGillney.
You know who else should get some barking for him is Fleury.
Yeah, Theo Fleury.
Theo Fleury, man.
yeah.
Theo Fleury won everything. The guy was a superstar at one point, and he literally paved the way for Braden Points and for other smaller players. And he did it with a bunch of fire, too, in his belly. And, and people talk about the nowadays and Theo Fleury and gets political online. Shut the fuck
It has
up.
nothing to do
We're
with this
talking
game.
about hockey, and I know there's a bunch of guys. You mentioned Big Walt, JR, but Theo Fleury, for me, that guy's an NHL Hall of Famer. And the other goalie, too, Curtis Joseph. Curtis Joseph, he didn't win a Stanley Cup, but I mean, he finished second in the Vezina. I want to say, I don't know for sure, so I'm kind of making this up. I want to say 3 times, 4 times.
Wow.
It was Hasek and Waugh in those days, right? Like, it's not like he was finishing runner-up to these pigeons. Like, in my mind, that's another guy. And that's more of an argument than maybe Mogilny or some of the others. But Curtis Joseph also, in my mind, is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he saw more rubber than a whorehouse back when he played. So I'm on a roll tonight. Let's see.
Merles has a thing with the Hall of Fame.
Are we all done Hall of Fame talk?
No, but you.
Couple more. I won't leave you hanging,
Merles
Rose.
thinks they shouldn't put like a mount.
Can he say his point?
Yeah, you're right. No, this wasn't even my point, but yeah. Why is it?
One.
Yeah,
I know to read his mind.
That's why we're good teammates.
Yeah.
We were good
Game
line.
notes.
You ever score Game 7 OT winner in a conference final? That's why we did that.
Mind melt.
But yeah, I don't understand why it's like mandatory that 5 or 6, whatever the number is, have to go in every year. Shouldn't there be like some years where there's like no Hall of Famers?
That's dumber than the Sunday.
No, zero is dumb.
They need
but
one a
2
year.
or something.
Yeah, like it could be 1, but it seems like there's always got to be 8. That's kind of weird to me. Like it's a Hall of Fame.
Well, they got the build. They got the builder categories. That's how Biz is going to go in someday.
Yeah.
You know, Biz is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Biz the builder. They're going to call him.
It should be like a little higher standard. Like there's not always everybody's going in every year.
I get you. I get you there. Team Canada member Caroline Ouellette also goes into the Hall of Fame player category. One of just 3 female players who has won at least 4 Olympic gold medals. Haley Wickenheiser and Jana Hefford are the other 2. She also won gold 6 out of 12 times at the World Championships, and the other 6 she won silver in those. So basically 12 times there she medaled. Also a D1 title at Minnesota Duluth. In the builders category, Chiclets alumni Ken Hitchcock and GM Pierre Lacroix were elected. Hitch is the 4th winningest coach in NHL history in 22 seasons with the Stars, Flyers, Blue Jackets, Blues, Oilers. Of course, he won the 99 Cup with Dallas. And Lacroix was GM of the Quebec/Colorado franchise from 94 to 06. They won cups in 96 and 01, on which he was the architect. Induction will take place November 13th in Toronto. And Merles, you had one last point as well.
This one is for Biz. There was another Hall of Fame induction this weekend. It was the Svats and Svems. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That's the equipment managers and the trainers of professional hockey.
No shit.
They have their own
They're in
PA.
Arizona for their
Svats
meetings.
and Svems?
Professional hockey athletic trainer, something, I don't know. But they inducted somebody into the Hall of Fame, Biz. Donnie Del Negro, your guy.
Donnie Del Negro.
Biz, that's your boy.
So a longtime Bruins guy went into the Hall of Fame. And
Donnie.
He's a big listener. His kids are listeners, so I knew you wanted to.
Congrats, Donnie Del Negro, my buddy from Beantown. Donnie Del Negro.
Actually from North Adams, Massachusetts, where I went to college. He's a Drury High graduate.
You know Donnie?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
I mean, me and Del Negro go way back.
And I heard. This is not confirmed, but they were going to use your Donnie Del Negro that you used the other podcast during the induction as like his.
I think he ended up saying it 17 times.
Hey, it's Donnie Del Negro.
Hey, Donnie. I'm going to be saying that the rest of the night.
All right, the Board of Governors.
So the floater talks.
I'm going to start naming my horn. Donnie Day, Donnie. Oh, yeah? You want a piece of Donnie Del Negro? Huh?
NHL teams will no longer wear specialty jerseys during warm-ups next season after the Board of Governors voted to do away with them. Of course, we're talking about pride jerseys, military, various heritages. Ivan Provorov, I guess, should take out the ball rolling when he opted out of wearing a pride jersey last year. And I think a lot of other players felt empowered by that. They decided they didn't want to, and I think the Board of Governors just felt it's not worth it anymore. Now, teams are still having these theme nights. It's not like they're doing away with these causes. They're just simply not going to wear the jerseys anymore. So, I mean, they're still going to, honor these groups or whatever the cause may be. So, Bettman says he feels it's just become a distraction. It's taken attention away from it. Instead of talking about the cause, they're talking about people not doing it. So if they just have the theme night,
Well, because certain media members rather talk about the one guy who didn't participate and blow it up and make it a distraction and what's the word I'm looking for? Make it a divisive situation where it's like these teams are throwing on these theme nights and majority of the players are wearing these jerseys. If one guy, based on his religious beliefs, doesn't want to do it, listen, I don't agree with the guy, but it's his fucking right to do it. I'm not going to fucking scream from the mountaintops. I'm just simply going to tell you what I believe in. And I believe that if a guy wants to be married to a guy, go have at it. It doesn't affect my life in any way. If they found love, great. But if it's against this guy's religious beliefs, oh well. I don't agree with him. Go have an opinion. I don't need to tweet about it and fucking drag his name through the mud. And that's what kept happening. And I agree with Gary. It took all the focus off the good of it. It made it divisive, and now we don't get it anymore. So it's like, we talk about this pendulum that keeps swinging, and I think that like in certain cases, people have just lost their mind, and I don't know if it's become this like social media Twitter thing where they just feel like they need to go, all of a sudden drag these people through the mud. Where I feel like they're making it more about themselves than what the actual cause is. No?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, they just want to kind of beat their chest, maybe get a little bit of clout.
And hey, if that's how they got to get clicks, and that's what they do to kind of ignite their fan base in order to get the conversation started, all good. But it's at the end of the day, it's just rubbish. And I feel like majority of people kind of really get truly what the fuck is actually going on.
You know what the NHL nailed about this too? Was announcing this now. And people said, why you announce this now, right? Well, it's because next year, if you announced it, it would have become a story again. You announce it now. And then all of a sudden the awards happen and the draft happens and it's all over. And next year when nobody wears the jerseys,
I guarantee they try to kick up dust again. That's what they do.
How? I mean, they've already announced it. It's just they did a good job in terms of kind of like burying the story right before the awards and the draft, in my mind.
Yeah,
and they still have the nights. Yeah, they're still gonna have the nights.
Exactly.
They're still gonna have all the nights, military, gay pride, whatever you want to do. Have the nights. The players don't need to wear the jerseys. And they're still gonna make the jerseys and sell them to people who want to buy them. This is a no-brainer for me. Yeah. Enough with all the nonsense and making these stories like much bigger than they need to be.
All right, everybody, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Bolero. Bolero is the world's largest owner and operator of bowling centers, with over 325 locations throughout the United States, currently located in 34 states. Bolero is known for reinventing one of America's oldest pastimes into a new and unforgettable experience with modern and beautifully designed venues, expansive arcades, premium signature cocktails, and a creative menu. Now, we're here to introduce the Barstool Bolero Invitational, the summer's most anticipated event. Joining the Invitational is easy. Simply enter your name and visit any Bolero near you and bowl for your chance to be entered to win one of our ultimate prizes, including limited edition Barstool bowling gear, an event at any Bolero, and the ultimate grand prize, which includes tickets to the Super Bowl and NBA Finals, plus a trip to the Barstool Bolero Invitational Final in Chicago on August 9th. The fun doesn't stop there. Enjoy a guaranteed spot on the lanes when you reserve a lane or book an event at Bolero near you. Visit Bolero.com using the promo code Barstool for 15% off your next lane reservation. This offer is only valid through August 31st. Visit www.bolero.com Barstool to learn more about the Barstool Bolero Invitational starting July 12th. Precipitation is open until July 23rd. No skill is required. All participants have an equal chance of winning. To find a participating center near you, visit www.bolero.com/Barstool, and that is BOWLERO, Bolero. Yeah. All right. Well said. We were talking about Dumb and Dumber earlier, Biz. Well, in Calgary, they're saying our pets' heads are falling off right now after all this shit. I mean, Frank Saravelli, our buddy we were talking about, he said Michael Backlund is, quote, leaning toward not re-signing in Calgary. Noah Hannafin clearly indicated that he does not plan to sign an extension. The Flames also made a big pitch to Elias Lindholm, but they're not sure that he's going to come back. And then Tyler Toffoli, add him to the list. I mean, what's going on in here? Is there like a chain reaction here? I mean, is it that bad playing there? I'm dog. What's the deal?
Well, Backlund just won like the community service award.
King Clancy.
Yeah, so it's like he does a lot of great work there with his wife too in Calgary, and like is like a mainstay core guy. And now you've got core guys like all saying they want to leave. I don't know what the hell is going on.
I don't
know what is. I've seen stuff. It's the owner because there's Sutter's gone.
Yeah, because
Tree's gone.
The owner sided with
So
Sutter.
what the hell's going on?
They brought Maloney.
Yeah, you just said it.
Their rink sucks.
But I actually,
It does.
Calgary's an awesome place to play.
It's like one of the best cities in Canada.
It's an unreal city. Yeah, the arena needs a new one, but they're getting one.
Yep.
Maybe that could take 3 years. Who knows?
They'll be playing at the University of Alberta's rink, like the Coyotes.
If you're Huberdeau, you're like, what the fuck? Shit.
Did we already talk about the fact that they offered when they offered Tkachuk that bridge deal? They made their own bed. They had to lie in it.
Kind of like the Marner and Matthews situation.
They made their own bed. They got to lie in it.
Don't do bridge deals with superstars.
And then
don't do it.
And then all of a sudden, all the things were the uproar with Sutter last year, and ownership had his back, and they wouldn't let him go, and that pisses people off. Tkachuk was not a fan of Sutter. That's why Tkachuk left. Johnny Gaudreau, he had some positive things to say about him when he came on the podcast. So I'm not exactly sure whether it was his decision for that exact reason. But the Sutter situation with ownership is now the trickle effect going on. The few guys left. Now you see Lindholm being like, well, everybody's jumping ship. I got no one to play with. Why would I let my career die here? So he's off. Well, there goes your fucking top line from fucking 2 years ago. And now it's just a shit. Who's like the 130 goal scorer they might have left now that
Mangiapane.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. It's over.
Well,
it's time for a rebuild. They might be in worse shape than the fucking Flyers.
This is my conspiracy theory.
Go ahead, Murr.
Sutter was the coach. Huska was the assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
What did they hire? They hired Huska. Do you think that has something to do with it? That maybe that they should have went with my prediction of Mitch Love, the AHL coach
Where's
of the year.
Where's he going now?
I heard he's going to
They
Washington.
brought in Savvy. Mark Savard is coming in too.
Maybe do those players know Huska is going to be the same as Sutter, and that's why they're getting out? I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know what's going on there, but that's just my first
It's
thought.
crazy to see this many guys.
Hey, and speaking of another name, you know who I heard's trying to get Zadorov? The Toronto fucking Maple Leafs.
It's always about the Leafs with you.
What do you mean?
We were talking.
No, everyone goes to the Leafs. You don't.
Well,
know
you're
this?
talking. No. We're talking about people jumping ship from Calgary.
Yeah.
And I just said
Did
Zadorov.
Zadorov say he wants out?
Rumor boys.
Sometimes it's
Rumor
not.
boys.
Hey, sometimes it's not your decision.
Rumor boys.
It is interesting.
It is surprising because it's an awesome city, and it's a great fan base, and they had something going. I mean, yeah, they ran into the wagon called the Edmonton Oilers 2 years ago, and then this year obviously was a failure. But I'm just very surprised in terms of seeing all these guys. Or maybe it's
because I jumped off the bandwagon. All these other guys are. Maybe that's the reason.
True.
All right, gang, before we go any further, here's a word from our good friends at Sport Clips. Gentlemen, we want it all. We want to play it by ear and have definite plans. We want to overshare life stories and remain mysterious. We want to be hip and wear the same sweatshirt every day, but sadly, we can't have it all. Unless we're at Sport Clips Haircuts, where we can tune into the game and tune out work pings, where we can put our hair in the hands of pros and put our brains on Do Not Disturb. At Sport Clips, we get an unbeatable haircut and some uninterrupted downtime with the MVP experience, complete with massaging shampoos and hot steamed towels. In other words, we get to have it all. Walk in or check in online. Sport Clips. It's a game changer.
I was going to say, too, back about the Oilers, though, too. I think Elliot Friedman was talking about one of the Oilers, and it was an unnamed Oiler source that said that not only did they want to beat the Flames when they did.
They wanted to ruin them.
They wanted to ruin
And they
them.
did.
And they
did.
Yeah.
They literally ruined
it's like
them.
when Lucci's
it's
buried
kind of
Ryan
like
Miller.
interesting.
Yeah. McDavid
Kid-
ended the Calgary Flames organization.
Yeah.
All right, one last note here. The Hershey Bears won their record 12th Calder Cup in dramatic fashion when Mike Vecchione scored the overtime game winner in Game 7 to end Coachella Valley's dream debut season. Hell of a first season in the Valley, but Merles, what do you got for us, buddy?
Well, first off, EBR rule number 3, Game 7, always take the under. We hit that one.
You did.
We hit that one, but I think it's hilarious.
What's rule number 2?
I have to recheck.
Okay, sorry.
But I think it's hilarious. I gave you one AHL pick this year. One AHL game all season long. Said, Whit, Hershey Bears at home, teddy bear toss night. Hammer them. They're the best team in the league.
Against the Sound Tigers.
They're the best team in the league, Whit. He hammers them.
Like Hammer Biz.
Hammer.
Like hammer.
That's
hammer,
ridiculous.
Hammer.
As we have heard, they got shut out. And don't they?
No, and a teddy bear toss night?
Yeah, they shut out. We didn't hear about that.
I put 20 grand on the game. On an AHL game that I didn't watch. He goes, I guarantee they're going to win 5-1. They didn't score a fucking goal.
They're like 9-1 all time on teddy bear toss night. And then, so once that didn't happen, I'm like, I'm off AHL. Like, I'm off giving picks to Whit. Doesn't Hershey go and win the whole goddamn thing?
Of course.
14th ever Calder Cup?
12th. Record 12th.
Okay,
Yeah.
12.
I want to ask you guys a question.
yeah.
Hockey guys, played in the American League, played against Hershey a lot. What's one person you think of when you say Hershey Bears?
Bork.
Marek Svatos.
Mine was Bonvi.
Bonesy was there?
Bonesy,
Matt
my first
Molson.
couple
Chris Bork
years.
is in the Hall
Chris
of Fame
Bork.
there. He's a legend.
Matt Molson.
I think of two things, which is weird. Boyd Kane.
Boyd-
Was he there for a little bit? or
I
was
think
he
of Boyd
Philly?
Kane
Yeah,
more as
Phantoms.
a fan.
Phantoms, yeah.
And I think of Bruce Boudreau, who I believe still lives in Hershey as well. Who
No
was
shit,
the coach
eh?
there for,
You know who else I think of?
I don't know why.
Do you remember?
Keith
No,
Cohen.
you guys were gone. So
Who was that Frenchman who was a rat who used to run around?
Oh, Robitaille.
Robitaille. Louis Robitaille.
He was a rat.
You know what I think of
Piece
him?
of
Was he in
shit.
Portland?
Yeah, he bounced
he was
around
in
a little
Portland
bit.
as well.
around.
But
Yeah,
in
he was a
Hershey, he was a piece of shit. I think of when
I love this stuff.
my rookie year, our rookie
Yeah.
year, I had to go back down to the minors. I don't think you did. And I had to go back down, and we played Hershey. We beat Bridgeport.
I was
and then
still
we,
down there.
Then we played. Were you that year?
Oh, fucking
When we
right.
lost to Hershey second round? I don't think you were.
No.
Yeah,
I
this
was
was
at the year Endo got
Hey, I was
bought
on
out.
the team.
Yeah. Remember Mike Green? You remember fucking Mike
he
Green?
was nasty.
I was
From
like,
the Saskatoon Blades came up.
his shin pads were so skinny,
Yeah.
and he had
Oh,
the
he
tongues
was
out.
nasty.
had
And he
such
must
good-
have had 20 points in the 6-game series we had to get. I was like, who is this kid? And then, he goes on to be a 30-goal scorer in the NHL as a defenseman. I just remember being blown away by that.
Well,
kid.
that was the year he scored. So he scored 30.
No,
and
this was before he was ever in the NHL.
No, I understand. But then he went off to the NHL. And the one year he scored 30. But in playoffs, his stealths were running out. He had these,
I remember that.
He had these Easton
The
stealth
blue and
sticks,
black.
and he was just snapping it all season. He'd been the first defenseman in years to score
He scored
30.
7 games in a row that year.
Yeah, and
Broke a
then,
record, I
And
think.
then all of a sudden they ran out of his Easton twigs, and he just couldn't shoot it the same
Yep.
ever.
I'll tell you what I think of Hershey, and I hope you guys remember it, is when you would come in there, you get in there at like 3 a.m. to that Hershey resort,
Oh my God!
trying to find your room.
at the Hershey Hotel.
Oh God, no.
I didn't think of that.
It's just lines of guys, and it's just amazing.
It was like, I remember walking. I
like a
remember walking. It was with
funhouse.
you or Endo. And I remember walking, and we walked around different ways of the
passing.
elevator, and then we just met at the other side. I'm like, what the
And
fuck?
everybody's eating their Hershey bar. They give you a big Hershey bar when you check in.
Where
We're like,
are
where
we?
is this room?
Where are we? I don't
And
know.
people think pro hockey is all about the women and the beer.
Yeah.
No, it's about Hershey finding your hotel room.
And the other
Merrick
thing at Hershey,
Smatos, great
the
call.
worst
Rest in peace.
bus food after the game. Shakey's Bar would bring the food.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember at Wilkes-Barre,
Shakey's
we stopped ordering. We stopped
you
ordering
remember
because it
the
was
name of that?
so bad. We would just like, we'll just wait till we get home to Wilkes-Barre and go to the
Or go to Domino's.
For a 50%
You like get a salad because you're
off.
healthy. You open it up, it's
Hershey.
like swimming in water.
I remember one time we Chris Kelleher, Rob Scuderi, and myself, we found, the story isn't even good, but we found falls so funny. Like, a good fall in a game is just so funny. And we were talking about it beforehand because I had one the night before against Norfolk and Wilkes-Barre, and then we hopped on the bus. We played Hershey the next day. And Chris Kelleher is skating backwards, dude, right in front of us. I'm talking like me and Scuds are sitting here, and he's 3 feet in front of us. Dude, a banana peel got thrown underneath his skate. I'm telling you, dude, his skates were higher than the glass.
Ass over tea kettle.
I remember Scuds legit had tears coming down his eyes.
Scudsy gets it going.
Scuds is going, we were just talking about that.
I'll tell you this too, boys. I love that. This is another thing. We always ended a 3-3 in the Mindsies in Hershey.
Always.
I always felt guys after that game, 3-3, sitting in the room, can barely get your gear off, just exhausted, just sitting quietly, win or lose, just done.
But you know
In
what the best
Hershey,
part
it's
it was?
Like 5:00 at night.
The best part was it was
It was
always an
afternoon.
afternoon game, and we would get back
We'd
to the
go out
arena bar
hard.
and grill,
Yeah, we could
and we
go
would
out,
get
cook it.
obliterated.
Sunday nights in the AHL are
Anywhere in the minors, Sunday night.
if you have a buddy in the AHL, call him Sunday night at 10 o'clock. He'll be the drunkest person you've ever talked to. Also, my memory of a 3-3 was I think we've told this story before, but we finished,
That's why I think the NHL could survive on Sunday night.
Yeah, exactly. Because guys are so drunk they don't remember the game. We finished lockout year. We went last 4 weeks of the year. We went 3-3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then we went Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Wednesday, Friday,
Yep.
Saturday,
Oh,
Sunday.
God.
Wednesday. We did 3-3, 4-5, 4-5, 4-5. And the last game, so we played in Norfolk. We drove home 6 hours. We played in Wilkes-Barre Saturday night. We woke up Sunday morning and we drove to Philly. Dude, this is, I mean, I'm talking, this is the,
I'd rather
this,
you
is
hop
the,
off my
this
dick.
is the 15th game in
That's great.
25 days to end the season. And we did warm-ups. And I'll never forget. And Terrian comes in the room after, and I look over, and Ross Lupischuk dead asleep. After warm-ups, before the game, dude. Ross, you remember
I
this?
remember this. I remember this clear as day.
It was like torture. Like it was this. But nobody blamed him. Like this guy, we're all exhausted. Like Loopy fell asleep.
Do you remember what happened after?
No.
Do you remember Kochi? David Kochi came over with the pill, and he's like,
yes,
hey,
he gave him a
Ross,
pill.
Take this." And he took it. He's like, "It's the best." That was like the original Russian gas.
Yeah, and he had like 3 fights and 2
Yeah, he's
goals.
like, "It's the best I ever felt
Loopy
in
had
my
a
life."
cannon. Oh, I'll never forget that. Legit asleep 5 minutes before the anthem.
Witt's tracksuit just had skid marks in it from that stretch.
Fart suit.
Fart
Jesus.
catchers.
I still had a Discman. I was listening. I remember
It was a shockwave.
I had like a Counting Crows CD. I was like crying listening to it. Oh, shit.
Omaha, somewhere in middle America.
But Philly had great food though. Philly had the great the cheesesteaks after the game there in the minors.
Yeah.
And I always liked playing the prank on
Here we
guys.
go.
They would write like the medium cheesesteak, which was huge. It was this big. And then I would go on later.
The medium was 14 inches.
Yeah, so then I would go on after, and I'd put XL on the guys. It's a 6 foot solid. We sit in the guy's
dog
seat.
meat.
They had to get another bus.
Oh, I loved it.
Who's got
There we go. One question about Hershey, and away we go.
Nobody
boys.
even
Seriously,
knows
off
that.
and
That are like that might be my favorite memories.
Hey,
from Pro
congrats,
Hockey.
Hershey. Congrats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Hershey, congrats on the cup.
Next podcast we'll do wheeling.
I'd love to hear those.
Boys, great pod. That's
Yeah.
old school Chiclets.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I love you boys, and what a day.
Yeah, what a
shout
day.
out-
We get the draft tomorrow night. Everyone tune into that. The Connor Bedard show. And then all of a sudden, Friday or Saturday, we got free agency starting. So an exciting time. And everyone probably deserves a little break maybe after that. But listeners, don't worry. We are booking. What's the word the kids use? Mad interviews? Is that old school? Maybe that's not
Sick.
Come on,
Maybe that's not the
interviews.
current slang. G for a lot. What's a lot? G doesn't like
A
mad.
plethora.
A plethora. I'll go mature.
It's a
A
college
plethora
word.
of interviews to hold everyone over.
Speaking of free agents, I got a text from Ivan Barbashev.
What do you say?
Hi,
Barbs.
Biz. This is Ivan Barbashev here. First of all, big thank you to you and Whit and the boys for saying good words about me. And other reason I'm texting is I saw you guys texted me on Insta to do a podcast, but I'm going to say no because it's not my thing. I hate interviews and just not great at conversation. So sorry about that.
What a classy
I
guy.
said, no problem, pal. Haha. Congrats on everything. He said, thank you.
Barbashev
So-
over Meyer.
We'd love to get the top free agent on the podcast, but he can't. He's not good at conversation, but we still support you, brother. I hope you get your 6x6 and I hope you make
No,
your 25.
8 times 6. Somebody give him 8 times 6.
You can't.
Cigarette machine.
Texted you.
You can't
Unless
get
they
8 times.
sign and
Unless he
trade.
resigns with
Or they trade his rights before Friday, bitch.
Could happen.
I'm fucking
All right,
Hey,
guys.
shout
And
out-
we have a sandbagger. We're filming Friday, so that's going to be
Also,
coming out soon.
Shout out
or
to
a couple months.
Santa Monica and LA County firefighter team. They're up in San Jose. They had a little bench clearing ball, like firefighters playing, like with the game we went to, had absolute bench clearing brawl. Just Spittin Chiclets fans. I heard from them earlier, so shout out to Marty, Matthew Mullen, and check out Church and Union if you're in town. No free ads. Good restaurant if you're in town. Awesome stuff. So
love it.
Great time. Nashville, love you. See you next week.